It's 900 hours Central Africa time on this Friday, the 6th of January 2017. Jumbo Africa, and a very warm welcome. I'm Elvis Preslin.
And I'm Kendall Makamate.
We will be with you until 12 o'clock, and we're broadcasting live from Auckland Park Studios here in Johannesburg. Now, today, Kendall, we focus specifically on the Eastern Cape. They have yet again claimed a wooden spoon as the worst performing province with a 59.3% pass rate. And poor infrastructure and teacher shortages are cited as the biggest problems in that province.
Exactly.
So we're posing them a question.
And that question really is, why do we still have mud schools and poor matric results in the Eastern Cape?
That's the question we pose to you. I'd like to find out from you what you have to say on the Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom, as well as on the Facebook page. And we're also conducting a poll, and that's with the release of Jub Jub. And I wonder if we have the poll up. If we don't have it up right now, we'll put it up a little bit later to see if we do have it ready. And we'll fix it for you and bring it to you a little bit later. Right now, let's take a look at your news headlines. Justice Project South Africa has slammed the decision to free Molemo, Jub Jub, Morakhanye and Themba Chabalala at a time that the country is struggling to keep road fatalities down. The African National Congress's National Executive Committee met to finalize the January 8 statement that will be delivered by the party president, Jacob Zuma, at Orlando Stadium on Sunday. And a day after the national matric pass rate announcement, the provincial departments took time to celebrate and reflect on their individual performances. Now, those are all your headlines. But before we get to the news, let's find out from Kendall Makamate what's happening on the sports front.
Good morning, Elvis. Quite a lot happening going into the weekend. We just won a test series against Sri Lanka, but we also have some awards being dished out, continental awards being dished out. And let me not let the cat out of the bag in case people don't know. Good morning to you. This is what we've got for you in the sports today.
And the club of the year 2016 is Mamelodi Sundowns.
The sun keeps rising for Mamelodi Sundowns as they clean up at the CAF Awards last night. The Proteas series win over Sri Lanka is overshadowed by news that Cricket South Africa has cut ties with star bowler Kyle Abbott for signing a co-pack deal. And Novak Djokovic and Andy Murray edge closer to showdown in the final in Doha. All these and more bring to you later on the Sports Bulletin. Be sure to stick around for it. But for now, it is back to Elvis, who's got the news.
Thank you, Kendall. Top story this hour. The Justice Project South Africa has slammed the decision to free Molemo, Jub Jub, Morakhanye and Themba Chabalala at the time that the country is struggling to keep the road fatalities down. The two men were freed yesterday after serving 4 years of an 8-year sentence for killing 4 children while racing their cars in Soweto.
It has been 6 years since this fatal accident and 4 years since the two men were found guilty of, among others, 4 counts of murder. 2 years ago, their murder convictions were overturned to culpable homicide, effectively slashing their 20-year sentence to 10. The court found that because they were under the influence of drugs, they couldn't foresee that their actions could lead to death. The NPA's decision not to appeal the ruling paved the way for their release on parole within 2 years.
There are strict conditions that they have to comply with, and which county corrections will monitor them very closely. Some of the things are basic. For instance, they will have to report in terms of their whereabouts, some of the activities that they have to be they get involved in.
The families of the victims were also invited to make submissions to the board. However, only 2 did, including the parents of Mlungisi Gwai, who didn't oppose the parole application.
I have forgiven them. It doesn't help finding forgiveness in my heart because I'll never see my son again. He is gone.
All Gwai has to hold on to are memories and pictures. During the meeting with the parole board, Gwai came face to face with his son's killers, but also had his first conversation with the hip-hop star.
Accepted that he was in the wrong. He sees it and he regrets his actions. He said he has changed. He is no longer that Jub Jub who was doing those things.
Has opened his home to the pair, saying they are welcome anytime. Alden Simpier, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Now, we wanted to ask you that question on the poll, but unfortunately we have got some technical issues this morning, so we can't check with you what do you make of the release of Jub Jub, whether you do care, whether it doesn't matter at all, or what do you make of his release. But the North Gauteng High Court has dismissed with cost civil rights group AfriForum's urgent court application to interdict power utility Eskom from cutting electricity supply to non-paying municipalities. The provinces which owe money to the parastatal are the Free State, Northwest, as well as the Northern Cape provinces.
Blackouts are imminent. The North Gauteng High Court says Eskom is within its rights to take measures and collect revenue owed to it. Municipalities in the Northwest, Free State and Northern Cape owe it over 800 million rand. But there is grace period for payment arrangements.
Eskom undertook not to limit services as envisaged in these proceedings until 9 January 2017. The following is the result. The application is dismissed with costs, including costs of to counsel.
AfriForum says it's back to the drawing board.
I think we'll be just go back to the drawing board, see where our arguments stand. We do sympathise with Eskom. The real culprits are the municipal managers, the municipalities themselves, the councils, and the decisions they have taken financially that the people of South Africa now have to bear the brunt of.
Between March and November last year, municipal debt nationally increased from 6 billion rand to 10.2 billion rand. Eskom says it is not in the business of cutting electricity but to supply it. Eskom says although it is pleased with the court judgment in its favor, it is concerned about the indigent people who will be affected when the electricity is being cut off.
I cannot celebrate that an ordinary South African in a municipality will not have power for 5 hours in 24 hours, precisely because the municipality has not met its obligation with Eskom.
Eskom urged the affected municipalities to make payment arrangements. Offenses Timo, SABC News, Pretoria.
The ANC National Executive Committee met to finalise the January 8 statement that will be delivered by the party president Jacob Zuma at Orlando Stadium on Sunday. The statement will give direction to the party structures on what needs to be done this year. Now, this will be President Jacob Zuma's last January 8 statement that he will be delivering as the party president. The ANC will hold its elective conference at the end of the year.
The NEC, the highest decision-making body between conferences, gathered here to put the final touches. The statement is expected to touch on what the ANC will do to recapture lost ground. It will also look at the economic challenges facing the country. On the international front, it will touch on peace and security on the continent. The senior leaders will visit the 5 Gauteng regions to mobilize support.
The committee has presented the draft today. The NEC is quite busy discussing that draft and focusing on the content, focusing on the formulation, focusing on ensuring that it talks to the people of South Africa. It points direction. By the time we present it, we must all know what to do next. The president has arrived today from home. He put specific apology for being at home for the 3rd and the 4th. And actually, the NEC was supposed to be on the 4th. Because of that apology, we have taken it to today. He is now here. He will be moving all over the province. So all the officials are back now, will be everywhere.
Gauteng is the host province, but other provinces will also be attending the event.
We are inviting everybody to come to Orlando Stadium, where we'll be celebrating 105th year of the African National Congress. Obviously, this is not just a celebration. It's a moment for us to reflect, to renew ourselves for the future.
It's a very important historical event in the history of the African National Congress. More so that it will be one of the events which will be addressed by President Zuma as the president of the ANC.
When we celebrate the birthday of the African National Congress, like we're going to be doing on Sunday, the branches of the African National Congress throughout the country must descend to that particular province. It happened in our province. The rest of the provinces came to celebrate. So we are just doing what we are supposed to be doing.
This is a national event. This event is called by Lituli House. So for it to be national, all of us must come, must be represented in that occasion. So as a province, we are bringing 12,000 people as our contribution to the national event.
It has been celebrated in all the provinces as a national event. So once it becomes a national event, it then means that all branches in the country must converge in order to celebrate the event. So the same with branches of Limpopo. They are awaiting the celebration and they'll be coming to Gauteng. Even if it was in Western Cape or Eastern Cape, they would still go because it's a national event.
Vilakazi Street will be a hive of activity as some senior ANC members visit Soweto. Sophie Mukweni, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Time now for our focus of today. It's on the matrics of 2016. Now, the Free State is still basking in the glory of being top of the 2016 class. The province is the first to break through the 90% pass mark. The Free State Education Department honoured its top 100 achievers.
The anxious wait is finally over for these pupils. They were up at the crack of dawn to get hold of the newspaper for their results. Top achievers in the province were also recognized for their hard work at the gala event. Johan Champion obtained 8 distinctions and went to study medicine.
This year was a roller coaster ride. It was extremely stressful. I had a lot of sleepless nights, but in the end it paid off. When the year started, I never thought I would be number one, but I worked hard. I worked for a position in the top 10 in the Free State, and it was extremely difficult. You had to put in the hours, but in the final exam, it was just revision. Everything was already in here, and you just had to remember.
Other top-performing students also felt the pressure.
2016, my matric year was very hectic. The pressure was overwhelming, but through the support that I got from my family, the school, and the whole community, I managed to do it.
2016 was quite a difficult year because every year has its ups and downs, but through proper time management and hard work, and then also perseverance, I conquered what I wanted to achieve.
Education authorities are aiming even higher this year.
23%, nobody have thought that we'll be able to achieve that, and I'm happy that we have achieved that. It shows that a province led by African National Congress can achieve the top performance if we work together and forget small differences.
The province hopes to achieve a 95% pass rate this year. Ishmael Mudiba, SABC News, Bloemfontein.
To KwaZulu-Natal, the provincial government there warns that it will not tolerate non-performing teachers. The province recorded an increase in the 2016 matric results, but is still the third worst performing province.
It's called out for KwaZulu-Natal's top performers. This year's matric results have improved slightly from 60.4% in 2015 to 66.4% last year. The province had the highest number of pupils who sat for the 2016 matric exams.
Listening in class, definitely. Doing homework, working hard obviously, but also finding balance. I played sports, I was involved in the wind band, just finding that balance and having a lot of support structures, which I'm really thankful for.
I just did my best and I just let it happen and waited for the results. I didn't expect it.
It took determination and hard work to get to where I am today, because we'd work even after hours, late after school, we'd still continue working.
Despite these achievements, KwaZulu-Natal isn't doing well. This rural school obtained a 16% pass rate. Teachers here say there was no grade 12 maths teacher for half the year.
We are going to take very serious decisions. So we're going to punish
non-performance. We're very clear on that.
One concern is the high number of matric dropouts.
There are 400 less people that passed compared to 2015 in KZN. Now that is a problem because it does mean that we need to account for about 15 or 20,000 learners as to where are they, what happened to them. They were enrolled, but they didn't actually sit for the exams.
The province produced the second highest number of bachelor passes, but this achievement is tainted by a group copying scandal. Simpiwe Makanya, SABC News, Durban.
Now, underperforming schools in the Eastern Cape will receive prioritised assistance. 2 schools had a 0% pass rate and 127 pass rate of less than 30%. Poor infrastructure, teacher shortages and non-delivery of books are some of the big bugbears there. The Eastern Cape was yet again the worst performer with 59.3% pass rate.
Nokemani Senior Secondary School, providing education for more than 800 children, but the school had a dismal year in 2016. But some of its matrics still managed to get by.
I am feeling so glad. Today I'm here to take my statement so that I will apply to do my first year.
Those who failed are determined to get it right.
I failed, so I'm still trying to decide if this year I will come here and do my matric again if they allow me to.
Parents are also taking the failures hard. An emotional Nokwezi, Bova, says her daughter wanted to become a doctor.
I am so hurt. My daughter is also very hurt. She is crying at home. She is saying she will look for a job as a domestic worker.
This school faces another tough year. Since the violent protest last year in August, 18 teachers left, saying they fear for their lives. The school governing body is concerned about the state of affairs. The Education Department has pledged immediate support for the schools who performed badly. Zimkita Manginana, SABC News, Ngaleni.
Seems like a dire situation in the Eastern Cape, and therefore we're asking you that question today. Why do we still have mud schools as well as poor matric results in the Eastern Cape? You can let us know what's on your mind on the Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom as well as on the Facebook page. 23 years into our new democracy and still we see the sort of stories coming out of the Eastern Cape, and of course the matric results speaks for itself. 59.3% in that province. Now with the national matric pass rate of 72.5%, provincial departments took time off to celebrate and reflect on their individual performances.
Jubilant matric pupils in the Western Cape. 7 months ago, the SABC aired the story of Ikamvaletu Senior Secondary at Langa Township. In trying to beat the odds, the matric pupils literally moved into the school. The class of 2015 did the same thing and managed a 60% pass from 35%. The class of 2016 coming short at 50%.
I did not think I could do it. I moved into the school because I live in a shack and next door there's a tavern. I couldn't focus, so yeah, I got the opportunity to study.
The Department of Education will be visiting underperforming schools. Gauteng also improving its pass rate. With the majority of its schools in townships, the province says its focus and investment in township schools is bearing fruit.
What is more encouraging, Minister and Honourable Premier, that 73% of our schools, regardless whether they're in the township or they're in urban areas, if you go to those schools, you are guaranteed a matric pass. It's a very important development in ensuring that majority of our learners go to schools that will give them an opportunity to pass in life.
The province also boasts the highest number of bachelor passes. Only 3 schools in the province achieved less than 50%. The Northern Cape is celebrating a far more successful year. Various interventions contributing to a near 10% increase. Hard work has paid off for this top performer.
It's been a goal since grade 10 to be part of the top 20 of the province. This became a top 10 goal in grade 11 and then finally a top 5 goal. But now that I'm in the moment and being the top achiever, it feels amazing.
In Limpopo, Vemba district leading the pack. This despite Vuwani being in flames last year. It's in Nesengani Secondary School, a beacon of light with 100%. The majority of the schools that were torched produced over 70% pass rate. 2 schools have recorded a 0% pass rate. Mahlako Komane, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Meanwhile, here in Gauteng, the MEC of Education, Banyasi Lesufi, on Thursday announced that Gauteng had the highest number of schools that received 100% pass rates in the National Senior Certificate exams. Now, during an awards ceremony at the newly built Chief Albert Lutuli School in Davidson in Kuruleni, Lesufi said that the province leads the country, with 32 schools having scored 100% matric pass rate, with some of them being located in our townships. Now, Gauteng learners make up 23% of the bachelor passes countrywide, which is around 37,000 learners. For more on the story, we are joined here in studio by the MEC for Education in Gauteng, Banyasi Lesufi. A very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning,
welcome.
Elvis.
You must be a very happy man this morning.
Well, I am. If you take into consideration that the investment we made in township education is now starting to yield dividends, I'll be the happiest person, but still need to do more. But I'm excited that township schools, firstly, are producing 100% pass mark, which is very important. Secondly, they're also giving us the bachelor passes that we need. But thirdly, which is very, very important, is that we are removing a majority of our school from the bottom. They are now competing with the best up there. So it's encouraging. I think it's something that should be celebrated.
Talk to us about that turnaround strategy, especially in the townships, and what have you done as the department to take that measure?
Well, it's resource mobilization and resource investment and directing resources where they're needed. Firstly, we run a program that is called SIP. It's an improvement program for secondary schools. What we do over Saturdays and in some instances Sundays, we pull learners out of our township so that they can be in a certain school where they can get extra support. We also have military type camps during school holidays so that they can be there. But lastly, we invested a lot of resources in our paperless platform, ensuring that our classrooms are on paperless in terms of the smart boards, in terms of the laptops of educators and tablets of learners, and also ensuring that we've got a spread of Wi-Fi and connectivity in majority of our schools. That makes it easy for research. It also makes it easy for learners to compare notes with other learners that are in other parts of the country. And lastly, is teacher development. If you can't train our educators, you can't move. So we have to ensure that our educators are in a tip-top situation where they can respond to new challenges that are facing the education sector. And also recruiting the best. I mean, the best school is determined or influenced by a best principal. So if we've got the best principal in appropriate position, it will assist us to have the best results. So we are quite excited in Gauteng.
There's always this talk about the difference between urban schools and rural schools, and it's always been a problem in terms of how do you mobilize that and how do you provide that resource mobilization as you talked about. Have you seemed to bridge that gap?
Well, to be quite frank, Elvis, every province has its own challenges. There's no province that is perfect. We might be seen to having resources, but those resources, attract many learners from other provinces to come to our area. But also are starting to attract learners that are coming from other parts of our continent as well, that believes that quality education is in our province. So what we need to do is to maintain a delicate balance on how we are bringing new resources, but also ensuring that those resources can provide support to learners where they need it. Because if we've got extra learners, it means we hire extra teachers, appoint more people to work in our district offices, but also ensure that the desk and textbooks. So it's a delicate balance that I really believe that it's very important that you maintain that balance appropriately.
Infrastructure is very important, but obviously there's challenges in relation to the resource mobilization that you talk about, the new textbooks, or well, not textbooks, and notepads, as well as the electronic systems that they use. What were some of the challenges, and has that come to, because there were some problems in the beginning when you rolled out?
They are massive. It's also unfortunate that we are not in Rome, we're in Gauteng, so people will steal these things, they'll break in our offices. And secondly, some of the learners, I don't think mentally were ready. They were more excited about the gadgets rather than concentrating on their studies. But also, some of them, they will take some of our gadgets to Mashonisas to say, borrow me 500 rand and then hold the tablet for me. And I don't think it's mental readiness of some of our learners. But they're in minority. Majority of our learners if you take the results into consideration, they utilize the gadget appropriately. I mean, there is a school where we launched the project. When we launched the project, they were at 70%. After we've introduced the paperless platform, they are now at 87%. So clearly, they are utilizing the facilities appropriately and correctly. So we just need to strengthen the security outlook of it and also ensure that our learners mentally, they are ready. Because if we give you a gadget, we give you a gadget to study, not to download movies or download songs of Van Dammes and Scabora Mureki. So it's a difficult process.
Now, Gauteng is the economic capital, and some schools, as we indicated, are using these tablets and so forth. But the Free State Province is #1 in the country, and they don't use any of that. How do you compare that? Or is there still maybe something that needs to be done in order to correct that?
No, they do. They utilize technology strongly, actually. We communicate with the MEC that they utilize technology. But it's a technology that they're using for their maths and science. And we need to congratulate them. I mean, competition is very important. If you don't have competition, you're not going to have way of improving things, because competition pushes you to the limit. It eliminates complacent. It ensures that you remain on course and focused. So we need to congratulate Free State and congratulate Western Cape. But they must know, in African language, they say, Yamato Taipeli, so we fight forever. So that's how it is.
The matric results, a lot of analysts are saying that there's perhaps too much focus on the matric results and not so much focus on early development, early childhood development. Is that perhaps correct? Do you concur with that?
I fully concur with that statement. That is why we invest a lot in Gauteng in terms of our ECD, and 3 exit grades, grade 3, grade 6, grade 9, because we believe that to have sustained curriculum performance, you need to strengthen the base and strengthen the foundation. So if you don't have a strong foundation, you're not going to sustain the results. But also, the number of learners that are starting grade R, we must ensure that we keep them within the schooling environment until they reach grade 12, because if you don't do that, you're going to struggle. But as I said, in Gauteng, you can do that, but there are other people that are coming from other areas that wants to enter the schooling environment that were not part of our foundation. So they dilute our performance as we grow. But we don't complain. We believe that everyone is entitled to go wherever they want to go. Their country is one country, so we'll have to soldier on with the difficulties that we face.
You're getting ready for the new year, 2017. How ready are you as the department? Because you had some problems with the online registration.
We are ready. The online registration assisted us, so we know where we've got an overflow of learners. We know now where we have to build new schools, so we are quite excited with the new academic year. On Monday, I can assure you, we'll welcome almost 1.3 new learners in Gauteng. So it's a massive call, but we are ready, and I want to congratulate those parents that applied on time, and also congratulate our service providers, those that are providing food, scholar transport, school uniforms, desk and other things. It's a massive, massive task. It's a massive project. But as Gauteng, I say to all parents, you had an opportunity with those small ones now. Bring them over to us now. It's our chance.
MEC, thank you so much, and
so much,
congratulations once again on the performance, and all the best for 2017.
Truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And
now that was the MEC for Gauteng Education here in the province, Panyasa Lesufi, joining us. And of course, we'll keep you updated as time goes by as to the performance of the schools when they do reopen. Now, yesterday we asked you the question, what is the legacy of the education system in South Africa? Let's take a look what you had to say about this. This one coming from Wandile. Wandile says teachers are moving away from rural areas to urban areas due to demotivation and hashtag matric 2016. Now that's what the MEC also alluded to earlier, that people are flocking into our province here. Hassani says government must make sure that they deliver services to community because strikes stole more time of education. Well, that's so true. If there's a strike, of course, time goes by and students don't have time to study. Roy says there's still a big gap between the privileged and the underprivileged. This one from Roger says lack of teachers, that also created a great impact on Matric 2016. This one coming from Slaudism says, those complaining about standardization process forget the results went through the same process. That also applies in universities. Remember the standardization process where people are being standardized, or the grades are being standardized. So that's some of your comments that came through yesterday. You can keep them coming on our Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom. Our picture of the day comes from Mamelodi Sundowns FC, Masandawana, and it is captioned, "I'm truly humbled." So says Pitso Mosimane. Hashtag Glow CAF Awards 2016. There you have it there. Of course, team of the continent. Hey? Wonderful. Our comment of the day comes from Warwick Austin. Now, Warwick says Abbott and Rousseau are big losses to the Proteas. Their decision to play in the UK is 100% understandable. Job security is key for anyone. Well, there you have it, some of the comments of the day and what is happening on social media. We'll bring you some of the other news a little bit later, so you'll have to stay tuned. And of course, we're asking you a question. We're focusing on education this morning, especially the Eastern Cape. We're asking you, why do we still have mud schools as well as very poor matric results in the Eastern Cape? I would like to know from you, especially if you live in the area. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after that.
To Queen Masinate led Remembrance Sunday celebrations in the capital of Lesotho, Maseru.
This is the Makwanyane Square. It is a monument established to pay tribute to Basotho soldiers who fought and died in the 2 world wars.
Lesotho played a key role supporting British forces during the war.
Use of intravenous drugs such as heroin are on the rise on the Cape Flats. That's according to employees of a local drug treatment facility, the Sultan Bahu Center.
The facility treats 132 people on a daily basis through its community-based program.
I don't say the area is bad, it's how the drugs is so bad.
So we are saying to them, if you have that issue, come to us, contact us.
Now, the Northern Cape government say they owe their vast matric results improvements to various programs that were implemented throughout the year. Now, the pass rate improved from 69.4% in 2015 to, listen to this, 78.7% in 2016. Now, meanwhile, learners in Limpopo and teachers from the schools which produced the best results attended the results announcement ceremony in Polokwane. The province obtained an overall average of 62.5%. Now, that is down from 65.9% the previous year. Now, we are very honored today to have both the education MECs for the Northern Cape, Martha Bartlett, as well as Ismail Kretsepe in Limpopo, the MEC there in our respective studios. To both of you, a very warm welcome and congratulations to your results.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Now, MEC in the Northern Cape, what is your overall impression and reaction to your results of the class of 2016 in your province?
You know, I'm very happy because we worked very hard together, the parents and the children, and they made us proud. And when you work hard and you reap the fruit, and it's something that you can celebrate. Although we still want to be higher than we are now, and I think by the improvement of the class of 2016, we will be able to do that.
MEC Kgatshephe, you did not do too well. You've dropped from last year. Your reaction to that?
Yes, indeed. We dropped by 3.4%. And we did look at what were the areas that affected us, so we will be able to move out of that. Part of the challenges we have been experiencing in the province is the availability of resources to do proper intervention in areas where we should actually invest so that we are able to get the best results, especially in teacher development, in enrichment programs, and ensuring that we bring a number of tools of trade that will enable the educators sometimes to use technology, even that, to be able to effectively present the matter to the learners. We have improved a lot in terms of our supply of LTSM and textbooks to the schools. We need to zoom into those other areas. We have done a lot in the last year in terms of shaping up in our financial management so that we can shift resources to those critical areas. And I think we will be able to do that come this 2017.
Now, teacher development you've mentioned as one of the challenges. What is the sort of challenge that you face there? Do you also have shortage of teachers there?
Now, obviously, there are a number of challenges that the teachers are experiencing in the classrooms. And teaching and learning has always been enhanced by teacher development, where the teachers are exposed to the either the use of technology, the new way of presentation, to ensure that they master the content and they are able to enhance the teaching and learning in the classroom environment. If you are not able to do that, your teachers might not be able to use modern day tools of trade to be able to be effective in the classroom, and therefore you will be left back a bit, and you might actually miss the efficiencies that goes with the use of, for instance, of ICT in the classroom.
Did Vuwani have an impact on your pass rate this year, because there was no schooling for quite some time and a number of schools being burned down as well?
Vuwani has actually done very well. The best circuit in the province, Vuronga, it's a circuit in Vuwani. And as you are aware, the best district in the province is the Vembe district, where Vuwani falls. The lowest percentage in the district, I mean, for the circuit in Vuwani, there are 3 circuits in Vuwani. It's 65%. So they haven't really gone to poor performance. So the learners in Vuwani have done far better than we expected. I think the work that we did between us and the Department of Basic Education to make sure that we get the learners into camps, we make sure that they run mid-year examination and they go through pre-exams, has worked very well. The learners in Vuwani, when they started the examination, they were already on par with any other learner in the country.
MEC Bartlett, everybody is looking at the Northern Cape and they say something extremely good happened there. What did you do? What was the magic wand that you waved to get that increase of almost 10% in your results?
Yeah, it actually was a program that worked very well. And to me, to interact with teachers or schools and of learners and of parents was one of the things that we did. And with the team of education, we visit all the underperforming schools, because although we said we want to visit this year all the schools, especially the ones who were the best performing, but we visit the underperforming schools in all 5 districts. We had autumn schools, we had winter schools, and we had camps, we had locking sessions, and we had also spring schools. And what we also did, we went to all the spring schools, we interact with the children, and with the locking sessions where we visit children who went to schools from Friday till Sunday. We also helped them, and we promised them that every child who worked very hard will definitely receive a bursary. And we also had led teacher programs, which we also have, and the teachers were very much involved. And then we had the career expo, which we also normally do almost every year, with the SANDF Drisai in Rodapan, where we visited. We took almost 3,000 to 4,000 children there, and we exposed them. Because of us, the SANDF are they do discipline the children, and they are very disciplined. And really, when you take the children there, they start from day one. A child who normally don't listen in a class, when they are there, I went there and I experienced it. When they say sit, you sit. When they say stand, you stand. And if you don't do that, then you will be out. And I think discipline is one of the most effective things that you must do to help your children. And then we have the psychosocial support, which we provided also to our learners. We identified the schools in the Francis Bath and John Taule, where we all have a problem. But I can tell you, in John Taule, we improved, because in the province there was no district that had less than 70% in our province. Our number one leading one was one of the top 5 nationally. It was Namakwa district. Namakwa proved to us that they can do it at 91%. And all the others follow was 79, 78, and then 71 was the lowest. So we are very proud of them. And also have the radical intervention programs that we also was embarked in July and in August. And I can tell you this time around, last year I didn't have the sense, say 2015, the urgency of the children to really take education serious. But when we visit and interact with the children, we see that these children really take everything serious now, because I think the communication of them, that's very much important. But you need the support of society, you need the support of the parents, and you need the commitment of the children. And this time around, we went into all radio stations. We spoke to the children, they've listened, and I asked the parents specifically during the time when we interact with them to tell them that please leave our children to rest and to study, and after that you can see what you can do. And I'm thankful because the parents did that. And then we also have compulsory study sessions during the evenings and over the weekends. And I can tell you all the children really came. If there were some of them who didn't come, then I don't know. But most of them were very serious this time around. And we also have a placement of high maths and high science officials to underperforming schools. But I can tell you we are going to start again when schools opening to visit all the schools. We deployed all the politicians, everybody who's involved, all the stakeholders, and everyone from Parliament and from Exco, sorry, including our Premier, which always lead us by example. All of us, they are deployed to our schools, and we are going to visit every school. And not only now, we want to visit them during the year, also to give the necessary support to the teachers themselves. Because I really think the teachers really need it, and they are the ones who sit with these children for 365 days. So I think this time around, we will really give them the commitment that we will help them. So with the deployment to the schools, was not only to see if the children are ready for schools or whatever, is to give them the support and to see what we can do as the government of the Northern Cape to help these children further. But also to emphasize and to say that we will really go out there and to make sure that no child who passed with acceptance will sit at home. We are going to do our extremely best to see that our children will be in universities, the ones that have diplomas will be where they want to be, and we are going to give them 100% support.
Now, although you had this a very good increase in your matric results, you also had problems. You mentioned the John Tlolo Kotsewe district there, where you had challenges there, where there was no schooling for a while. Has that been resolved?
It has been resolved, although we still have challenges, but we are working on it. And like I said, they proved to us, because it's one of the schools that we also visited, the district also visited. And the fact that they proved to us that they also reached the mark of 71%, show us that they are very serious about what we said. And like I said, interaction with them is one of the things that they are doing. Like I said, there's still a lot of challenges, but we are going to work on their challenges also.
Now, let's go back to Limpopo MEC. Now, you had functions to honor the top performers there. What does the future hold for some of the top performers in that province? And what about those who did not do too well? Will they be forgotten, or will the province assist them to make sure that they can progress?
Yes, we do have the second chance program that we had last year. We have referred them to the available centers so that they should be assisted. We have also a program of supplementary examination for some of them that qualify for the supplementary examination.
Your plans for 2017 to get better results?
Yes, we will finalize the program by the end of this month, but we will focus more on enrichment program for winter vacation and spring vacation classes. We will invest a lot in teacher development. We'll have a special focus program on the progress learners.
I just want, before you go, MEC, in Vuwani, has the issue been resolved in terms of the temporary classrooms which was put up there, and when are the children going back to their schools?
As you are aware, Elvis, the learners have been in classes there since September, but we know that the issues have not been resolved. They've got nothing to do with education. We have been pleading with the communities that we must leave our children alone in this process. We seem not to be winning, although there was an understanding when we ran classrooms, especially the camps. But we hope that the intervention of both the national and provincial government and the king of the Vavenda, who have been part and parcel of those discussions, it will help us to stabilize so that our children are left in the classroom as we resolve the issues that the communities are raising.
MEC Bartlett, looking at the year ahead, 2017, your plans for the year ahead to improve even further on the results that you received this year?
Yeah, no, definitely. We, as much as we are happy, we really want to reach, if we can reach 100%, that will be a bonus. But we really want to motivate our children, everybody out there, that we are happy now, but we can just do better. And I know we will do better.
MEC, all the best of luck to both of you for the year ahead. That was the Education MEC for the Northern Cape, Martha Bartlett, as well as the MEC in Limpopo, Ismail Kachepe, joining us both from the respective studios there. Congratulations, and once again, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it. But remember, there's a question that we pose to you that relates to education in the Eastern Cape, which is a problem area. We want to find out from you, why do we still have mud schools in that area, as well as poor matric results in the Eastern Cape? Let me know what's on your mind. Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom. Now, there are lots of celebrations following Mamelodi Sundowns coach Pitso Musumani receiving the Coach of the Year award. Let's take a look at your comments. Well, in fact, we got some tweets on today's question. In fact, there's Pitso Musumani, Coach of the Year, jumping with joy there. And it says there, we're proud of Jingles. Pitso Musumani, he brought us happy days. Masanda, wow. This one from on the Facebook page, on the Twitter handle rather, Siwengu says, Jingle bells all the way, what a season you've had. Pitso Musumani, where to is undoubtedly the best coach on the continent. Globe CAF Awards 2016. Odd says, congratulations to Pitso Musumani. He deserved that award. This one from Sibusiso Tembe says, congratulations, African Team of the Year, Mamelodi Sundowns. African Coach of the Year, Pitso Musumani. Player of the Year, Riyad Mahrez. Now, there you have from Sibusiso, Chris Mega said, so proud of Pitso Musumani. Now, that is true success. These are some of the comments coming through. You can keep them coming on the Twitter handle as well as on the Facebook page, Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom. But let's take a look at what's happening on our Facebook page. Now, Mpumalanga was making inroads in encouraging schools in that province to appreciate the fact that maths and physical science and technology were the key to free South Africa from the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment and inequality. Then, half of all the people in Liberia think their West African nation could plunge back into conflict more than a decade after civil war ended due to widespread corruption and rows over land. And a Haitian politician and former coup leader was arrested and extradited on Thursday to the United States, where he's wanted for alleged drug trafficking and money laundering. Now, you can find all those stories and more on our Facebook page and our SABC News website. That's what we have for you now at this point in time. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back after that.
Whether you're looking for a restaurant, public transport or a university, a lot of us use our smartphone apps to find the closest one. On Network, we chat to those who play a role in Africa's tech space.
We have taken financial services closer to the people. Yeah, mobile penetration is pretty high.
Apple take 30%, keep 70%.
On Network, we give you Africa's social media and technology news. That's Network with Ms. Phumelele Zondi every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time.
There must be something. There has to be a place where young entrepreneurs can come, and get advice and interact with people that are knowledgeable.
Business for me really, it's a calling. I do believe that it is a calling. Because I even remember, even when I was younger, when I was in grade 4, I sold silkworms. And they were quite popular actually.
I was making a New York brand in South Africa. Being very proud of being a South African, I wanted to make it proudly South African.
For more inspiring stories, stay tuned to Bupilong every Friday.
We're staying with education as our focus and our topic this morning. Excessive pressure is brought to bear on learners, teachers, principals and education bureaucrats for the sake of the annual shindig, that is the national matric results announcement. The matric pass percentage is a superficial and misleading indicator of public education quality, particularly as extensive analysis reveals an ongoing crisis in primary schooling in South Africa. That's not me that's saying that. Early learning is also currently crippled by difficult, including overcrowded classrooms and lack of support for early childhood development, and foundation phase grade R to grade 3 teachers. And shockingly, there's persistently over-investment in grade 12, when the largest investment is needed in the early school grades. That is being said by Tsepo Motsepe from Equal Education. Now, he joins us on the line to give us his take on the situation. A very good morning to you, Tsepo, and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning to the viewers as well.
Now, Mr. Motsepe, the introduction that I gave there was basically all your words. Why are you saying that, and why is there a reason for these harsh criticism being leveled at the Department of Education?
Well, I think one of the things that we need to put out there is if we're to build a house, where do we start? We start with a very strong foundation. And one of the things that we've consistently been highlighting throughout the past almost 9 years now with the Department of Education in this country, and many scholars also point to this, is that if we're to improve the quality of education in the country, we would need to give young people, particularly those in primary schools, adequate foundation phase learning and teaching, so that they can be able to excel. And this is where inequalities take root in the schooling system in South Africa. If you look at the number of matriculants that did well in the recent matric results, majority of them are from quintile 4 and quintile 5 schools. These are middle-class, fee-paying schools. And a few from quintile 1, 2, and 3, or the poorer schools, are also found within the top 10. But majority of them are from quintile 4 and 5, and majority of them received adequate foundation phase teaching and learning.
Now, some education analysts are saying that the country's on the right track pertaining to education, and gradually we will get there. You seem to be having a different view.
Well, look, we're on the right track in terms of producing good matric results. But if we're to backtrack a bit and look at the primary school education in this country, you will know that we've had in the previous years said one of the things that if we do not get primary education solid in terms of giving majority of our learners adequate socialization into teaching and learning, particularly in the first 3 years. This is where the dropout rate comes in. If you look at the number of young people that are dropping out of the system, so in 2003, learners that started grade 2 together, majority of them are not within the system. They cannot be accounted for in 2016. Why is that? It's because majority of them start dropping out immediately when they get into grade 9. And that is as a result of the schooling system not preparing them well. Now, if you were to take also children from poor schools and you measure them up with those that are from wealthy schools, you will realize that they remain 3 years behind. Now, scholars that are saying we're on the right track in terms of producing adequate matric results and analysis, but we have not been able to produce adequate foundation phase analysis and results that would give us an indication of improved learning in the foundation phase.
So are you suggesting then that there's more quality than quantity being produced?
Well, the issue here is not necessarily to say there's quality and quantity that's not been produced. What we are saying, we are pointing out to a neglect that we're starting to see, and it's taking root because matric results have become a high-stakes, winner-takes-all sort of, as we put it, we said it's a shindig, and we at the expense of primary schooling education in this country. Majority of young people, here we're talking about extremely young people, walk long distances to school. You made mention, you're asking your viewers about the Eastern Cape education crisis. If you go to the Eastern Cape education and you visit primary schools, you will see the disparities and the neglect that's there. But most importantly, primary schools are left to neglect. You're seeing overinvestment in terms of technology in the last 3 years of schooling. Majority of our learners will not even get to grade 12, and that's why we say the dropout rate continues to be a strong indicator that we need to backtrack and focus on primary education.
Now, you seem to be believing more on the elementary education or early childhood development. How will that make a difference, or is that the key that we're missing, you think?
Well, the Department of Social Development in 2013, the minister there spoke and released statistics of the number of early childhood development centers that are in the country. You have almost 24,000 early childhood development centers in the country, so almost same amount as the number of all public schools, both high school and primary. And out of 11,000 of them do not have water and electricity. They do not have adequate infrastructure to make sure that learners learn in an environment, they socialize, they learn in a fun way. What this does is that it means a child who is born in a poor family attends an early childhood development center that is inadequate and goes through to attend a school that is a primary school that is dysfunctional. They then go through to attend a high school that is also like in terms of infrastructure. And then what happens is that either they drop out or they fail matric, or they just get by in terms of matric, or they become a number of the progressed learners that we're seeing within the system. And this is where inequalities and neglect of majority of poor black people takes root in the system.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Motsepa, you also indicated that the matric results are superficial and misleading. Explain that to us.
Well, the superficialness of the matric results comes in if we're to say the matric results is an indicator of the quality of education in South Africa. Now, we know too well that is not true. Matric results are just one simple indicator in terms of exit in the system, but they do not give us indication of the quality within the system. And what we mean by saying quality within the system indicates retention of our learners. Gauteng has got the highest retention in terms of learners that finish the schooling system. We're also talking about support for teachers. We're also talking about physical attributes such as well and functioning school infrastructure. Most importantly, we're talking about teaching and learning that prepares our learners to explore different opportunities that could be available within the economy of South Africa. And not just the economy, but also the arts and other aspects. So we're saying it should not be that we say because the matric results sits at 72% or 76%, therefore that's an indication of a good quality education system in South Africa. That is not true.
And according to your own observation, do we need to overhaul the entire education system or not?
We should have done that immediately in 1994 or in 1996 when you started talking about the South African Schools Act. And I think we need men and women who are brave enough to say the inequalities within the system need to be halted. If we're to deal with the inequalities in South Africa, whether they be based around the economy, the job market, and everything else, we would need to overhaul the system, because the child of a domestic worker continues. I mean, you heard in the insert that you played about the Eastern Cape. The mother has already indicated that the child is already looking for a job as a domestic worker. Now, this is where inequalities and deep-rooted poverty takes shape for a large majority of our people. And this is part of what Verwoerd and his ilk made sure that it becomes a legacy, a genetic makeup of our people. And we should have overhauled the system years ago, and we haven't done that. We're appealing to the department and those that have a vested interest in the education system in improving our people's lives to really think of how can they overhaul the inequalities and the poverty that the system continues to produce, and them taking shape within the education system.
Mr. Motsepe, thank you so much for your time, and I think we need a lot more time to discuss this issue. You got some very valid points there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
That was Tshepo Motsepe from the Equal Education Foundation. Well, that's where we got to leave it for now. We'll be back at the top of the hour in 30 seconds or so. Yes, it's the second hour, 10:00 hours Central Africa time, this Friday, the 6th of January 2017. Jumbo Africa. I'm Elvis President.
I'm Kendall Makamate.
We will be with you until 12 o'clock. Now, we're focusing this morning on a very important issue, and that's education, especially in the Eastern Cape, that has just yet again claimed a wooden spoon as the worst performing province, with only 59.3% pass rate in that area. Poor infrastructure as well as teacher shortages are cited as the biggest problems in the area. So we're asking the question, Kendall.
And the question really goes to the heart of the matter as well. Why do we still have mud schools and poor matric results in the Eastern Cape?
That's the question we pose to you. Let us know on the Twitter handle as well as on the Facebook page. But let me see what you have to say about that on the Twitter handle. Let's see if it's up.
Bantu says, SABC Newsroom, lack of accountability from the Eastern Cape Department of Education. They blame everyone else but themselves. Our children's future is doomed.
Well, Bantu, yeah, that the children's future is doomed, and I'm hoping that the doomed prophet is not there to spray some more doom on that doomy picture there. Patrick Nene says, the Eastern Cape was like that since the likes of Raymond Mhlaba and his predecessors. The Eastern Cape needs tidying up, so says Patrick Nene.
We've got Roy, who says, it is sad. How do we still have mud schools in 2017?
23 years into democracy, Leroy, and we still have that. Lachasa Molo says, I'm not surprised about poor performance of the Eastern Cape learners and mud schools there. Our government doesn't care about the rural areas. Is that really true? That's another question.
And Gunisto Magunela, why you are concerned about Eastern Cape? Why are you concerned only about the Eastern Cape? What about Limpopo? They produce poor results.
Well, that's true. We spoke to the MEC a little bit earlier. He had some other thoughts, and that they were doing actually well. Some of the areas that were affected, like Buwani. Yes. So these are some of your comments coming. Keep them coming as we progress during the course of the show. We'll read them as we continue. But right now, let's take a look at your news headlines. Justice Project South Africa slammed the decision to free Malemo, Jub Jub Marohanye and Themba Chabalala at a time that the country is struggling to keep the road fatalities down. The African National Congress National Executive Committee met to finalize the January 8 statement that will be delivered by the party president Jacob Zuma at Orlando Stadium on Sunday. And we'll cross to our reporter in Soweto, where the ANC is doing a door-to-door campaign in a short while. And a day after the national matric pass rate announcement, provincial departments took time to celebrate and reflect on their individual performances. Those are all your news headlines. Before we get to the news, let's find out from Kendall Makamate what to expect in the sports news.
Quite a lot in the sports before the weekend, I think, as enough to fill up an entire 3 hours worth of sports, I tell you. Good morning to you. This is what we've got for you in the sports today.
And the club of the year 2016 is Mamelodi Sundowns.
The sun keeps rising for Mamelodi Sundowns as they clean up at the CAF Awards last night.
We have already terminated Carl's contract, and we're in the process of doing similar with Riley Rousseau.
The Proteas series win over Sri Lanka is overshadowed by news that CSA has cut ties with star bowler Kyle Abbott for signing a Kolpak deal. And in tennis, Novak Djokovic and Andy Murray edge closer to a showdown in the final in Doha. All this and more I've got for you later on in the Sports Bulletin. Be sure to stick around for it. But for now, we do have Elvis, who's got the news for you.
Thank you, Kendall. Top story this morning. Justice Project South Africa has slammed the decision to free Malemo, Jub Jub Marohanye and Themba Chabalala at the time that the country is struggling to keep road fatalities down. The two men were freed yesterday after serving 4 years of an 8-year sentence for killing 4 children while racing their cars in Soweto.
It has been 6 years since this fatal accident, and 4 years since the two men were found guilty of, among others, 4 counts of murder. 2 years ago, their murder convictions were overturned to culpable homicide, effectively slashing their 20-year sentence to 10. The court found that because they were under the influence of drugs, they couldn't foresee that their actions could lead to death. The NPA's decision not to appeal the ruling paved the way for their release on parole within 2 years.
There are strict conditions that they have to comply with, and which committee corrections will monitor them very closely. Some of the things are basic. For instance, they will have to report in terms of their whereabouts, some of the activities that they have to be they get involved in.
The families of the victims were also invited to make submissions to the board. However, only 2 did, including the parents of Mlungisi, who didn't oppose the parole application.
I have forgiven them. It doesn't help finding forgiveness in my heart because I'll never see my son again. He is gone.
All Kwai has to hold on to are memories and pictures. During the meeting with the parole board, Kwai came face to face with his son's killers, but also had his first conversation with the hip-hop star.
I accepted that he was in the wrong. He sees it and he regrets his actions. He said he has changed. He is no longer that Jub Jub who was doing those things.
Opened his home to the pair, saying they are welcome anytime. Alderin Simpier, SABC News, Johannesburg.
The ANC National Executive Committee met to finalise the January 8 statement that will be delivered by the party president, Jacob Zuma, at Orlando Stadium on Sunday. The statement will give direction to the party structures on what needs to be done this year. Now, this will be President Jacob Zuma's last January 8 statement that he will be delivering as the party president. The ANC will hold its elective conference at the end of the year.
The NEC, the highest decision-making body between conferences, gathered here to put the final touches. The statement is expected to touch on what the ANC will do to recapture lost ground. It will also look at the economic challenges facing the country. On the international front, it will touch on peace and security on the continent. The senior leaders will visit the 5 Gauteng regions to mobilize support.
The committee has presented the draft today. The NEC is quite busy discussing that draft and focusing on the content, focusing on the formulation, focusing on ensuring that it talks to the people of South Africa. It points direction. By the time we present it, we must all know what to do next. The president has arrived today from home. He put specific apology for being at home for the 3rd and the 4th. And actually, the NEC was supposed to be on the 4th. Because of that apology, we have taken it to today. He is now here. He will be moving all over the province. So all the officials are back now, will be everywhere.
Gauteng is the host province, but other provinces will also be attending the event.
We are inviting everybody to come to Orlando Stadium, where we'll be celebrating 105th year of the African National Congress. Obviously, this is not just a celebration. It's a moment for us to reflect, to renew ourselves for the future.
It's a very important historical event in the history of the African National Congress. More so that it will be one of the events which will be addressed by President Zuma as the president of the ANC.
When we celebrate the birthday of the African National Congress, like we're going to be doing on Sunday, the branches of the African National Congress throughout the country must descend to that particular province. It happened in our province. The rest of the provinces came to celebrate. So we are just doing what we are supposed to be doing.
This is a national event. This event is called by Lituli House. So for it to be national, all of us must come, must be represented in that occasion. So as a province, we are bringing 12,000 people as our contribution to the national event.
It has been celebrated in all the provinces as a national event. So once it becomes a national event, it then means that all branches in the country must converge in order to celebrate the event. So the same with branches of Limpopo. They are awaiting the celebration and they'll be coming to Gauteng. Even if it was in Western Cape or Eastern Cape, they would still go because it's a national event.
Vilakazi Street will be a hive of activity as some senior ANC members visit Soweto. Sophie Mukweni, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Indicate that we'll go to our reporter live in Soweto, where the ANC is doing a door-to-door campaign, but unfortunately not this hour. It will be the next hour. So you have to stay tuned. You don't want to miss anything right here on Channel 404. This is the Newsroom. Now, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, NSFAS, has reopened application processes to allow more students to apply for higher education funding in 2017. The extension was granted to thousands of learners who missed the deadline of the 30th of August 2016 last year. Now, applications will reopen from January the 9th to January the 20th, and the results will be made known on the 1st of February. So then you'll know whether or not you've got your funding. Now, for the latest, we are joined by NSFAS spokesperson Kagiso Mamabolo. A very good morning to you and welcome.
Good morning.
Mr. Mamabolo, first and foremost, your reaction to the results of 2016, the class of 2016, especially when it relates to NSFAS students.
Well, we would like to congratulate all the class of 2016 for their outstanding achievement, particularly for those that are in Quintile 1 until Quintile 3, because those are the ones that we focus on. We fund mostly the learners that come from no-fee schools.
So that must make you very happy. Have you had a problem in terms of getting students to apply? Have you finalized the process already, or is that still now open?
Look, the challenge was that our learners could not reach the online application and did not know where to submit their application. So we partnered with Vodacom. There are about 91 centers nationwide where they can go and make the application.
Physically apply.
Yeah, physically apply. And NYDA as well has made provision of their offices, and also the ECBNT centers that are powered by the Department of Social Development. There are more than 260 offices, so that's where they can go and apply. So we're standing at more than 370,000 applications that we have received, and we're quite satisfied with the response.
How many students in general do you normally facilitate?
More than 400,000.
So there's not a lot of places left.
Yes, exactly.
So people that want to get in must do it now.
Exactly.
Now, for the first time, you granted that extension to accommodate more applications. What was the response thus far?
Well, the response has been very, very good. I think we had a call from the student leaders saying that there are those that must have missed the first phase, but also from our system point of view, the learner experience was not so good through our online system. It was taking longer to attach supporting documents, and that's why with the new system we've improved that. It will take you less than 10 minutes to actually complete the entire system. We've also improved how you put your physical address and also attach more documents. So it has been well received.
So here I am. I'm a student, just got my results, I passed, I applied for NSFAS funding, I still don't know. What do I do?
You have to call our contact center, or you have to direct message us on Facebook or Twitter so that we can actually advise you for more, or you can actually walk into the university. All our universities and colleges have got access into our system. All the funded students will be told when they arrive at university if they haven't received any response from us.
And if you don't get to any university, you can go to your nearest Vodacom, or will they be able to assist you, or is it just for applications?
That's for applications only. But what is important is to actually call our contact center. We have actually started releasing results from yesterday, especially for returning students, but also the students that have applied for the first time. By the end of November, they will start getting results this week.
What is that number that they need to dial to find out?
It's 08600 67327.
67327. So people can phone in there. Now, explain the process for applicants who applied early and those who fall within the extended period.
Yes. Those who have applied earlier would have made their application either through fax, through email, through online, and they must have or could have submitted before the 30th of November. We have received all of them, and we are currently evaluating all of them. If you have applied online, you can log on and check the process. If the message says we're still waiting evaluation, it means that we are verifying the information which you have given us. You don't have to reapply. again. The second phase is to accommodate those that missed the first application and those that have applied for admission at university and have been admitted, because all universities and colleges have confirmed all the applicants for admission who have secured space. So this second phase is to accommodate them so that they are funded.
Are there any new innovations for 2017 that you as NSFAS has introduced to make it easier for people to get onto the system? And of course for those that have gone through the system but have not paid you?
We have partnered with the Department of Social Development. If you are a SASA recipient, you will not be means tested because government has already assessed your financial eligibility. So that's one innovation. But the second system we're introducing is called SABC, which is a mobile solution that allow our students to pay for food, for transport, for accommodation by just generating a voucher. So we say money follows the student, so there's no need to carry cash in order to buy for your books.
So you find it on your phone. Is that an app that you've put in, or what is it?
It's actually a USSD code, which is free. You can just dial it and it takes a few seconds for you to actually make your transaction. And it's much more easier because you can actually choose your landlord where you want to stay, actually pay for your own accommodation. And we say money follows the students. You have the liberty, you've got the freedom to actually choose your lifestyle.
That's absolutely fantastic, because I know that a lot of students normally have that complaint that they can't get the money from NSFAS, and now you're making it much easier to get it to them.
That's true. And in addition to that, we are also paying upfront registration. Our students will just walk at university and their names will be on the list of those that are funded, and they will just register without any problem.
Is there a different process for students that get funding for their studies and for those that have accommodation?
Well, first of all, we prioritize on tuition. And based on the information that you submit, we do some means test to check the kind of support you need from us. There are those that will be funded for tuition only, simply because they stay home, and will make provision for transport. And there are those that would require accommodation. If you stay on campus, we pay directly to the university. But if you choose your private accommodation, we'll pay directly to the landlord. But circumstances differ from one student to another.
And then once again, if they want more information about it, if you applied and you don't know, that number to dial 08600 673 27.
Yes, or follow us on my Twitter, my NSFAS, which is a Twitter account, which is very active actually.
Yes. Yeah. All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us here in studio, and all the best for 2017. That was the NSFAS spokesperson, Kagiso Mamabolo. Now we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back after that.
South Africa remains in the grip of a dry spell. It's led to water restrictions imposed across the country. About 20,000 cubic centimeters are being released per second. Authorities say that it could take 10 days. In the meantime, they're appealing to residents to use water sparingly. Transnet says that it's increased its revenue despite the weak economic conditions affecting volumes that it handled.
The company says going forward it will be investing in mergers and acquisition opportunities to expand Transnet services. It says while it does not believe South Africa will be downgraded, it has however begun negotiations with lenders to prepare for any eventualities.
Our focus this morning is on education, and the Free State province has once again reclaimed its #1 spot, a place that is very revered and a place that is right on top of where it is. So let's hear from Jack there, if you can get that number up and running there. They held it for 3 years ago, and this time around it has set a new record of 93.5% in the province, in the Western Cape. The province also Now let's see if we can get that right, if we can just stop there, Jack, and just carry on from there. Let me just see if I can have it right on the screen there. Now, you know that the province initial target of 90% has been suppressed, and some of the top performers were honoured at a function in Bloemfontein for their hard work. The Free State MEC Education MEC, Tate Makgoe, is visiting a previously disadvantaged school in Tabanchu, and our SABC reporter Ismail Modibe joins us from there. A very good morning to you, Ismail, and welcome.
Good morning, Elvis.
Paint us a picture as to what is happening there this morning.
Well, yeah, this morning we are here at the Albert Moroka in Tabanchu, where the MEC of Education, Mr. Tate Makgoe, decided to come here and, congratulate and visit the school and congratulate the learners of this particular school that has managed to achieve 100% pass rate. And this is not the first time that this school has achieved 100% pass rate. It's actually the fourth time consecutively that this school has been achieving 100% pass rate. So he felt it was proper for him to come here and interact with the teachers and the principal and the teachers who ensure that the school maintain its 100% record. And it's also the school that managed to obtain 100% mark in mathematics. But to tell us more on his visit and what we can expect this year throughout the province, because now the challenge is that the Premier must maintain the momentum and ensure that the crown that he has just won does not leave to any other province. So MEC Makgoe is going to briefly tell us that what recipe, what strategy did they put in place for this school to obtain what they've obtained this year. Dr. Makgoe. Can you briefly tell us how did you manage to get it right in this particular school?
Well, firstly, I must say thank you very much and congratulations to Albert Moroka for achieving 100% for the fourth time. A lot of people have asked me, in SABC and many others, but I think I must be honest with SABC now and tell you that our success strategy, focusing on the township schools. We are trying to put as much resources as possible. This school itself, 4 years ago, before 4 years ago, was not a 100% school. They were performing, 80, 90 and thereabouts. And we came here, we discussed with the teacher, and we said, you can actually achieve 100%. And the principal, as a leader in the school, decided that we are going to get 100%. And then they tried it in 2012, I think, and then they got 96%. But in 2013, they gave us 100%. And consistently, they've been giving us 100%. I think if you go to other areas, like Kwakwa, for an example, 11 schools have actually gave us 100%. And the concentration on mathematics, science, and accounting has helped us. Many people don't know that I've got an engineering background, and therefore I love science and mathematics. And for whatever time when I was in prison during the wars of the struggle for freedom, I studied a BCom and understand accounting. And then when people were telling me that the maths, science, and accounting are killer subjects, I said, no, I don't believe that, because mathematics is for everybody. Accounting can be done by everybody. So I'm proud that because of insisting on working with a black child, especially in the province of the Free State. Free State is the best province when it comes to accounting. Coming from the stage where people were afraid of accounting, we are the best province when it comes to physical science, 75% pass rate. Accounting is more than 80% pass rate. We're the best province when it comes to geography. We're the second best province when it comes to mathematics. So I've been doing well. So we actually challenged these so-called difficult subjects, challenged the theory that established racism and apartheid in South Africa, that black people can't do maths and science. We challenged that theory. And I'm happy that I was lucky to be part of the team that challenged that theory, and I think we have won. I can leave the Department of Education, I can go somewhere else. But now I know, and many people know, that black children can do maths and science. Least I must also tell you that the best student in the province of the Free State with 100% in maths is an African student. The best student with 100% in physical science is a black student. The best student with 100% in accounting is a black student. I think we are making progress. So I want to thank the teachers, the parents, the principals, and everybody. Even people in the community, the media has been, giving us a lot of support. So thank you very much. I think Free State is great, and we will sustain that greatness. Remember, we have opened up a very big gap, so people have to still to work hard. So what we need to be able to do now is to work hard to improve even quality, improve even participation. I want to reach a stage where in some of the township schools, you would reach a stage where 100% of the learners are doing maths. In the past, people in the schools did not want to do a combination of mathematics, science, and accounting. Today, I was looking at the results. Schools such as Khola Tuto, they were giving children who've got 100% in those 3 subjects. So I think we are doing well. The most important thing is that it is time that South Africans must stop complaining. It is time that South Africans, we must solve our own problems and commit to the history that has passed. It's history, but we are alive today. Let's solve the problem and make South Africa a better place.
Thank you. That is MEC for Education in the Free State, Mr. Tate Makwe, and you know that he has raised the bar that this year they are expecting more than, they are expecting 95% mark this year. It's back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Ismail Modibe, all the way from Tabanchu, east of Bloemfontein, there coming to us live. Let's now move to the Forum for Service Delivery, which is not happy with the class of 2016 matric results, and they've put the blame squarely on the shoulders of the Basic Education Minister, Angie Motshekga. The Forum are demanding that urgent steps be taken to address the high dropout rate among matriculants in the country. The Forum for Service Delivery says that independent examination board results are a clear indication that the country can flourish with an independent education system. Spokesperson for the Forum, Elias Mogoro, joins us now from our Pretoria studio. So very good morning to you, Mr. Mogoro, and welcome.
Good morning to you, sir, and good morning to your listeners at home.
First and foremostly, give us your reaction to the results of 2016, and do you think they were credible?
They can be credible, but not satisfying. We as Forum for Service Delivery, we are not happy with the results. We are not happy with the state of our education department, and we are not happy with the way Ms. Angie Motshekga, the Minister of Education, is running things. So hence, we are not happy with the outcome of the results.
But what are you not happy with?
Our Department of Education has a lot of challenges. Government education has a lot of challenges. Hence, we can't even move above 80% pass rate. So we are still having problems with moving in within, after 80%, so we can't. So, and it's been going on for a very long time. And our minister has been having problems. She's not coping with the ministry. So what we're calling for as Forum for Service Delivery, as the new voice for the community, we're calling for the immediate sacking of the minister as soon as possible. And she must be replaced by Mr. Lesufi, as he has proven from the past year that he's a capable person to run the ministry.
Now, you are also saying that the Independent Examination Board results are a clear indication that the country can flourish with an independent education system. Why are you saying that?
We say that because they've proven themselves over the years, and they've done well over the years. So why not try them? Why not go through them? Why not turn the Department of Basic Education into an independent body that will be run by an independent body with a CEO? Why keep on continuing with the same problem, with the same system? I mean, the IEB has proven themselves over the years. The IEB has proven themselves even this year. And we as South Africans, we're celebrating 76%. I think South Africans should just, forget this thing of celebrating things that are not enough. It's not enough for our country. It's not enough for our kids. And it can never be enough. We are 23 years into democracy, but we are still tolerating this kind of results. No, it can't happen like that. It can't be like that. We as Forum for Service Delivery, we are saying enough is enough. The minister must go, and it must go now. She must go now.
But you do realize that independent schools are very expensive schools where parents have actually disposable income that they can spend on these schools, whereas the majority of our people don't have the type of money that the private schools would charge.
the problem with us as South Africans, we're always talking about money. Everything is all about money. There are people with ideas in this country. The IEB is not only about money. Yes, the private education is very expensive, but the IEB is not about money only. We are calling for ideas. We are calling for a roundtable discussion between the IEB and the Department of Basic Education. We are calling on the IEB to take over, or let the government create a new independent structure that can run our government schools. Not the question of money. Yes, we have a problem with money, we have a problem with affordability, but we're saying the ideas. Let people sit down and discuss and come up with the better ideas, because clearly the minister has failed, and she has failed over the years. So why are we letting her continue with this?
Now, you call yourself the Forum for Service Delivery, Mr. Mokgoro. What has been your contribution as the Forum to education in South Africa?
The Forum for Service Delivery is a new organization. We've contested in the past August local government elections. We managed, out of nothing, out of not having resources or funds, we managed to get 30 councillors nationally. We are number 1 in the north. We are number 4 in the northwest, and we are number 10 in the country. We are not classified, or we are not called as others. So it shows that South Africa has people who can think. It shows that there are people in South Africa who can contribute better into this economy or into this country. We are tired of all these old people who are running our country and not doing well for us, and who are always tired. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it the past couple of days when the minister was introducing the result to us. She was tired. She looked like she hasn't been sleeping for a long time. While we have young people like Panyazali Sufi who can run this ministry, who are vibrant. Look at the challenges that he had last year. But he managed to fight them. He managed to contain the situation out of Gauteng. So why not try them? Why not try us? Why not try everybody? The Forum for Service Delivery is here. The Forum for Service Delivery is here for the people.
Well, in conclusion, the minister did get 72.5%, which is a great indication, but that's where we got to leave it, unfortunately. Mr. Mokgoro, thank you for your time and joining us in Pretoria.
Thank you very much, and have a lovely day.
That was the spokesperson for the Forum for Service Delivery, Elias Mokgoro. He says the minister must go. What do you think? Well, the question that we pose to you is, why do we still see mud schools as well as poor matric results in the Eastern Cape? That's our focus today. Let us know on the Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom, as well as on the Facebook page. But right now, Kendall Makamate is standing by with your sports news.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Elvis. My name is Kendall Makamat, and I've got your sports. We've got a whole lot for you on the co-pack deal. But first up, we need to let you know, we do know that Mamelodi Sundowns have cleaned up at the CAF Awards. We'll be bringing you that report about how Coach Pitso Mosimane has been reckoned by CAF to be the best coach in Africa. Now, before we do that, though, the Proteas series win over Sri Lanka was soured by the news that Cricket South Africa were terminating the contracts of Proteas players Kyle Abbott and Riley Rousseau, with immediate effect after it emerged that they'd signed co-pack deals with English county side Hampshire. This is what was said.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Cricket South Africa, my teammates, my family, for the ongoing support through this time. Sorry. And I would really appreciate it if the public would respect my decision.
An emotional statement read out by the fast bowler who had been sitting on the sidelines for a long time, but who of late had been playing a star role for the South African team. Abbott was adamant that quotas and targets were not the reason for his decision.
Ever since I played professional cricket in South Africa, there's always been a quota system, a target from young ages, under 19 and that. I've never used it as an excuse, and I'm not going to use it as an excuse now.
Abbott, who made his debut back in 2009, featured in just 11 tests, was adamant that his decision was a financial one.
At the end of the day, it's 4 years of security, and playing cricket is, I think, an incredibly insecure environment for anyone. So knowing that I've got income for the next 4 years is going to take me to nearly 34, it's quite reassuring.
The fast bowler made the headlines when he was left out of the World Cup semi-final against New Zealand in 2015
All right, seems to have been something wrong with that particular clip, but so important that we'll make sure that we get to play it for you again. So, but we carry on with the same matter. So what is a co-pack deal and what's all the fuss about? ESPN Cricket Info broke it down for us.
So what is a coal-pack deal? Well, we know that European Union citizens can all work in any other EU country. The coal-pack ruling says a citizen of any country that has signed a free trade treaty with the EU also has the same benefit. So, any cricketer from such a country can sign with an English county and, crucially, not have to play as an overseas player. Now, South Africa has such a treaty with the European Union, the Contour Agreement. So Abbott can join former South Africans like Albiro Peterson, Ashwell Prince and Jacques Rudolph in signing a coal-pack deal with an English county. Zimbabwe and Jamaica are also part of the same agreement, so their players can sign coal-pack deals as well. So why can't Abbott play for South Africa? Well, the downside of signing a coal-pack deal is that once you're playing as a professional in England, you can no longer play for your country of birth. Now, there is still a slim chance that Abbott could play international cricket again. His contract with Hampshire is thought to be either 3 or 4 years. Once those are up, or should Hampshire release him before they're up, he could return to play for South Africa. And if he finishes 7 years of county cricket as a coal-pack player, he's also eligible to play for England. But he'll be 36 by then. So why would Abbott sign such a deal? The answer is simple: more money. He's expected to earn more than £100,000 a year at Hampshire, far more than he would earn playing in South Africa. And why would Hampshire want him? Well, they are allowed only one overseas player in their team. But coal-pack players, as we've mentioned, aren't counted as overseas players. So for them, getting Abbott is like if Royal Challengers Bangalore got AB de Villiers and didn't have to count him as one of the 4 foreign players allowed in the IPL. But why now, when Abbott is just 29? Couldn't he have waited till he was closer to retirement age? Well, that's where Brexit comes in. Once England separates from the European Union, coal-pack deals with English counties won't be possible. So there's a bit of a rush to get agreements signed before that happens. Now, why are people in a bit of a huff about this Abbott deal and others like it? Well, the South Africans, of course, don't want to lose players, but there are many in England who don't like coal-pack deals either. Why? Because signing coal-pack players mean less opportunity for English players and less players in English domestic cricket eligible for national selection. Take Hampshire, for example. They already have Tino Best on a coal-pack deal. With Abbott too, if England needed a fast bowler, they wouldn't be able to look to Hampshire because their best 2 quicks wouldn't be English.
Now, with all of that said, what else did happen yesterday? The Proteas did actually win a match against Sri Lanka. In fact, they won more than just a match. They won the series, 2-0 in a 3-test series. And here's the reactions from the captain as well as the man of the match, just straight after that match.
Look, I think that's pretty much as close as a perfect game you can play. Before this test match, we wanted to make sure we try and dominate Sri Lanka. And we've done that every day. From day 1 to day 4, every single opportunity we had as a team, we stepped up and we dominated. And Sri Lanka for this game wasn't in the game too much. As you know, there's a lot of times where it gets flat, where the opposition is allowed to bat well, and then you need to make sure that you just keep the game quiet. And we've done that really well this series. They've never gone over, I think only once did they get it up to 3.1. So we've always got an eye on the run rate, and our bowlers, Vern and Abbo, obviously relentless on the areas, and then to have KG just come in and rip it apart today is our attack is a really, really good one on South African conditions.
I was still fighting a bit of rhythm in the first innings, then it clicked after I got a few wickets in the first innings, so I was a bit fortunate there, and I think I just tried to run with my fortune. And yeah, today coming into the day, I felt some decent rhythm, and it just got better, so I'm happy.
We picked up those 10 wickets. A lot of them were the top 6 in the batting order. Is that something that you target to get the better batsmen out?
Yeah, well, that's what you want to do. You want to get the top batters out. I think it says a lot about you as a bowler as well. But we've got quality bowlers in our team who could have done the same thing on any day. Today was just my day, and I'm just happy that I could contribute.
Okay, well, it was a superb performance. Just tell me, St. Stithians, do they put up another tree for you now?
I'm not sure. I'll have to phone and ask them.
Okay, well, I'll make a recommendation to them. Well played. Brilliant performance.
Thank you, Polly.
Welcome to the beautiful Newlands. It's been a short day, and that's thanks to amazing effort by South Africa, and in particular Kagiso Rabada. He was named man of the match, helping South Africa bowl Sri Lanka out for 224. A massive victory by 282 runs for the Proteas, and they've wrapped up the series with still one game to go. I have Ray Jennings with me. Ray, you obviously know Kagiso Rabada really well, and you sang his praises right throughout the match. How special was that today?
I'll tell you what did worry me about. We hear about the players being tired, and that's why you didn't make the follow-on happen. And here you have a man of 21, comes out with a huge amount of energy and starts turning on the gas from ball one. And that is why we're actually standing here at lunchtime to actually experience. Without energy, you're not going to get this talent coming through. And Rabada has actually turned it on unbelievably today.
Yeah, it's having a look at the wickets he took in the second innings. It's something very, very special to watch. Chandimal would have been disappointed with that because he's just chipped it straight to square leg. But it was relentless from Kagiso Rabada today. Absolutely fabulous.
And the energy that he used for the shorter balls, he actually utilised those short balls very effectively. He actually got the ball a short 2 or 3 occasions and then full to actually get the edges and the other way around. So from a tactical point of view, Kagiso was superb.
How do you deal with it as a batsman? What could Sri Lanka have done differently?
Well, the problem is when we go to Sri Lanka, how do we deal with the spin bowlers and the movement off the floor from a sideway movement? Yeah, they've got to deal with the fear factor and the deviation from a fast bowler point of view. How do you play and what a mental effect does it have when you play and miss a fast ball in South Africa from a Sri Lanka point of view? And how do we play and miss from a spin bowling point of view in Sri Lanka? That mindset is crucial.
Yeah, it certainly is crucial. And from your point of view, Faf du Plessis in this match, his captaincy, how he set his field, how he used his bowlers. What's your thoughts on that?
Look, there's no doubt A.B. de Villiers' support has given him the relaxation to know he's on the right track. He seems confident at the match presentation. He gave a good vibe to the fans and to his fellow players. So Faf's on the right track. He does have a slightly easier opposition like Sri Lanka. He's going to be tested next year when they play England in England, and that's when you're going to see how good he is as a captain.
There's no doubt about it. There's obviously a really big tours coming up from South Africa's point of view. This is how it looks from a match point of view. South Africa already wrapping up the series, and Faf du Plessis did say they want to make it 3-0, and they felt they dominated Sri Lanka through this test match. Well, you look at the scorecard and it certainly looks that way, but there were times when Sri Lanka fought as hard as they could, but it just wasn't for sustained periods of time. And Sri Lanka, in the end, all out for 224 in their second innings after a fabulous effort from Kagiso Rabada in particular, and a massive victory for South Africa. Well, it's a little bit windy here in Cape Town, but South Africa that has actually blown Sri Lanka away. Just last question, Ray, what can South Africa do in the next test to possibly make it 3-0, and what can Sri Lanka do to maybe come back and get some pride?
Well, I think Sri Lanka, first of all, they have to look at their batting and their process and how they're going to build partnerships. There's only been one partnership, I think, above 50. The batsman's technique to defend has been a problem. The fear factor looks as if the guys are scared to actually get on the front foot. They do have a young fast bowler that's going to surprise the batsman a little bit quicker on the Wanderers wicket. From a South African point of view, they need to express that ruthlessness. I would have thought by making Sri Lanka follow on was an opportunity. South Africa, if they want to be number one, have to show that ruthlessness whenever they play, whenever they do.
Yeah, absolutely. Will it be ruthless from South Africa's point of view? It's still quite a long tour as well, because we've only just completed 2 test matches with 1 to come. We've got the T20s after that, so a little bit of fun, hits and giggles, but it is a format that is certainly very important all around the world. And we, of course, then have the ODIs as well to come, 5 of them, which eventually ends in Centurion. So a lot still to play for from Sri Lanka's point of view, and you would expect them in the shorter formats to certainly compete against South Africa. Thanks very much for joining us. It's been a wonderful day from South Africa's point of view. Sri Lanka have got a lot to think about, but they'll have a little bit of time to do that ahead of the final test, which starts on the 12th of January.
Awesome synopsis there put together there by Ray Jennings as well as Natalie Jimana straight after that test match. Now, earlier on, we brought you a little bit about what happened in that presser straight after the match, where it was revealed that Cricket South Africa was going to terminate Kyle Abbott and Riley Rousseau's contracts with immediate effect after it had emerged that they'd signed co-pack deals with English county side Hampshire. This is what was said.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Cricket South Africa, my teammates, my family, for the ongoing support through this time. Sorry. And I would really appreciate it if the public would respect my decision.
An emotional statement read out by the fast bowler who had been sitting on the sidelines for a long time, but who of late had been playing a star role for the South African team. Abbott was adamant that quotas and targets were not the reason for his decision.
Ever since I played professional cricket in South Africa, there's always been a quota system, a target from young ages, under 19 and that. I've never used it as an excuse, and I'm not going to use it as an excuse now.
Abbott, who made his debut back in 2009, featured in just 11 tests, was adamant that his decision was a financial one.
At the end of the day, it's 4 years of security, and playing cricket is, I think, an incredibly insecure environment for anyone. So knowing that I've got an income for the next 4 years is going to take me to nearly 34, it's quite reassuring.
The fast bowler made the headlines when he was left out of the World Cup semi-final against New Zealand in 2015 after being the Proteas' best bowler at the tournament. But Abbott says he and the Proteas have come to terms with that.
I'm at peace with that, to be quite honest. It was a very difficult time, I think, for not only me, but I think for the team and Cricket South Africa. But and I think it took us a while to actually get over that. As recently as the New Zealand Test Series, where we actually went back and had a culture camp, and since then, not only has the team turned around, but the issues the team had with various things regarding selection, whatever, that's all been addressed, and the team is definitely going on the right path, and so is Cricket South Africa.
The decisions of Abbott and Rousseau have taken everyone by surprise, including their bosses at CSA.
I think it's sad in the sense that we do terminate, we have already terminated Kyle's contract, and we're in the process of doing similar with Riley Rousseau. But the sooner we move on from those two on the understanding that they will not be available for the Proteas, the better for us.
Proteas captain Faf du Plessis expressed his disappointment with Abbott's decision and hoped that lessons would be learnt to avoid this happening in the future.
He is going to be a big loss, definitely. As a team, we're going to miss him as a cricketer, also as a player. I suppose that creates an opportunity for us to learn from it, to make sure that something like this doesn't happen too often. You want to make sure Cricket South Africa keep their best players. You don't want to lose players going overseas. So this is definitely, if you want to call it a red flag, to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Proteas coach Russell Dominga also expressed his disappointment, especially in batsman Rousseau's decision.
And I'm bitterly disappointed in him, and that's the bottom truth. He toured Australia as the backup test batsman. He was the next batsman in. He's played in most of one days. He's played a lot of T20s. He's the guy we backed after 5 noughts. If that was a play of colour, getting 5 noughts, everybody would said transformation. But he got 5 noughts. We thought this is a guy that can play closest level to AB de Villiers in a one-day team as anybody else. So, guy, we've invested massively in, and I'm bitterly disappointed in his decision.
The Proteas should be rejoicing after claiming a series win over Sri Lanka. But the news of Abbott and Rousseau has thrown a spanner in the works. CSA aims to reduce the number of Kolpak players in the future. Fast bowler Dwayne Olivier, who has performed admirably at domestic level, has been called up to the squad for the 3rd test. Craig Murray, SABC News, Cape Town.
Well, there it is then, the Kolpak deal in a nutshell for you, exactly what the issues around Cricket South Africa, Kyle Abbott and Riley Rousseau are. Yes, their contracts have been terminated and they're moving on to play for Hampshire County. That's why we leave it with the sport. Up next, we've got Phil, who's got the weather forecast.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, let's take a look at that weather. We're going to start off as usual with Southern Africa. Well, we're seeing persistent low pressure systems here drawing in a lot of moisture, particularly from the northern regions of Southern Africa and the southern regions of Central Africa. That's being drawn down in towards Botswana for today, and of course down into South Africa's central interior and in towards its eastern coastline as well. We're expecting widespread showers for parts of Botswana, parts of South Africa, and of course through Angola, Zambia, as well as possibly even into Malawi for today. So that's what the low pressures are doing. By tomorrow, though, we begin to see a higher pressure system coming in and starting to act on that western region of the subcontinent here. And as a result, seeing a lot more clear conditions throughout that western coastline. We're also going to see that rainfall being pushed in South Africa a little bit further towards the east. Isolated showers still forecast along the southern coastline of the Western Cape, though. Let's take a look in a little bit more detail what's going on in your area for today. Now, Cape Town peaks at 26 degrees Celsius. It's going to be a warm one in Pretoria at 32 degrees, but we're going to see rainfall throughout most of the country for today. Widespread showers over Bloemfontein, so do expect a lot of rainfall there. Bloemfontein peaks at 22 degrees Celsius and temperatures rising steadily into the northern regions around Gaborone there, 32 degrees, Seroe at 29. Rainfall continuing in Maputo as well as Bulawayo there. And of course, Antananarivo there continuing with rainfall as well with a 26-degree maximum. Bulawayo's at 29 degrees and Harare 26. But temperatures rising again as we move further north towards Dar es Salaam there, 32 degrees Celsius. Showers and thunder showers now, as you can see, around Luanda, around Kinshasa, Brazzaville. Definitely going to see some rainfall there, but a dry one moving towards Juba, Addis Ababa and the surrounding areas. You can see the exact reason for that. Well, we're expecting higher pressure systems to dominate that interior region here. Low pressure systems are present over that far northern coastline there, and it's originating over Europe and the surrounding areas. Of course, what we are seeing, though, is that that's going to bring in some moisture, but of course a very small amount. This being winter, we're going to see that rainfall coming through Tunisia, through Libya, and beginning to move towards Egypt as well. We are going to see warm days, though, continuing for that interior. They're 38 degrees in Al Fajr, much, much colder as we move further north. Al Jawaf at 19 and Benghazi at only 14 degrees Celsius. So you can see just what that low-pressure system does. Cairo peaks at 18 and Tripoli at 13 degrees. Winter temperatures definitely taking hold of the area. Now, those winter temperatures continuing in Tunis, they're 9 degrees Celsius. We saw that rainfall forecast for the area as well, but it gets warmer and warmer as we move further and further south. Marrakesh, 22 degrees. Temperatures in Dakar, 26. Temperatures in Abidjan and Lagos at 31 and 33 degrees, respectively. This is where we leave your weather for now, but don't hesitate to contact us with at sabc.co.za. That's where we leave it for now. Have yourself a great day.
I don't know if I'm going to succeed, but I want you to tell us, who are these 3 people that you have opened corruption charges against at the Brooklyn police station? How senior are they?
Very.
Are these people who were serving in the political office of the executive mayor?
Yes.
Which means they are no longer working for the city now.
Well, I can tell you that one of them is actually finding themselves employed in another municipality.
You are not going to tell us the names?
No, you're not going to get names from me.
Are people still getting free Wi-Fi in Tshwane?
People are still getting free Wi-Fi, and we will actually make it one of the basic services that our residents will get.
Health Talk unpacks healthy tips to help you to practice healthy living lifestyles.
Now, generally, type 1 is found mostly in children and young adults, and with type 2 diabetes is found mainly in the older generation, and also with an issue of obesity.
Don't have second portions, and then I've brought this plate model to show that for both meals, your lunch, your dinner, half a plate should be vegetables.
Within sports, we see the spectrum itself. Most often we see minor head contact injuries, we call them.
Right.
But certainly in sports, the one that a lot of attention is paid to is concussion.
You see, you've got something, boom, but it's uncontrolled. Whereas in soccer, when the guy hits the ball, it's controlled. His neck muscles are controlling it. And that's why they say, for instance, in rugby, the training should be to improve your neck strength.
For more on health, join your host Dr. Selo Motaung every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m.
It's 1100 hours Central Africa time on this Friday, the 6th of January 2017. This is the final hour, Jumbo Africa. I'm Elvis Preston.
And I'm Kendall Makamate.
We'll be with you until 12 o'clock. Now, today we focus on a very emotive subject. Once again, it's about education, Kendall.
Yeah.
And it's on the Eastern Cape that has yet again claimed the wooden spoon as the worst performing province with a 59.3% pass rate. Now, poor infrastructure, as well as teacher shortages, are cited as the biggest problems, and that's why we're asking you this question.
The question really is, why do we still have mud schools and poor matric results in the Eastern Cape?
Let us know on the Twitter handle at SABC Newsroom, as well as on the Facebook page. But first, let's take a look at your news.
So I reckon...
Justice Project South Africa has slammed the decision to free Molemo Jub Jub Marokganye and Themba Chabalala at a time that the country is struggling to keep road fatalities down. The African National Congress National Executive Committee met to finalize the January 8 statement that will be delivered by the party president Jacob Zuma at Orlando Stadium on Sunday. And a day after the national matric pass rate announcement, provincial departments took time to celebrate and reflect on the individual performances. Those are all your headlines, but before we get to the news, let's hear from Kendall Makamate. What's happening on the sports front?
Elvis, is the last week of the very first week of January 2017. Quite a lot's happening already. Looks like it's going to be a cracker of a year going forward. Now, good morning to you. This is what we've got for you in the sports today.
And the club of the year 2016 is Mamelodi Sundowns.
The sun keeps rising for Mamelodi Sundowns as they clean up at the CAF Awards last night.
We have already terminated Carl's contract, and we're in the process of doing similar with Riley Rousseau.
And the Proteas series win over Sri Lanka is overshadowed by news that CSA has cut ties with star bowler Kyle Abbott for signing a core-pack deal. And in tennis, Novak Djokovic and Andy Murray edge closer to a showdown with the final in Doha. Be sure to stick around for all of this. We'll also be bringing you all of the glitz and glamour from the CAF Awards, where Peter Msima and Mamelodi Sundowns and Dennis Onyango got their just desserts. But for now, it is back to Elvis, who's got the news.
Thank you, Kendall. Justice Project South Africa has slammed the decision to free Molemo Jub Jub Marokganye and Themba Chabalala at the time that the country is struggling to keep road fatalities down. The two men were freed yesterday after serving 4 years of an 8-year sentence for killing 4 children while racing their cars in Soweto.
It has been 6 years since this fatal accident and 4 years since the two men were found guilty of, among others, 4 counts of murder. 2 years ago, their murder convictions were overturned to culpable homicide, effectively slashing their 20-year sentence to 10. The court found that because they were under the influence of drugs, they couldn't foresee that their actions could lead to death. The NPA's decision not to appeal the ruling paved the way for their release on parole within 2 years.
There are strict conditions that they have to comply with, and which county corrections will monitor them very closely. Some of the things are basic. For instance, they will have to report in terms of their whereabouts, some of the activities that they have to they get involved in.
The families of the victims were also invited to make submissions to the board. However, only 2 did, including the parents of Mlungisi, who didn't oppose the parole application.
I have forgiven them. It doesn't help finding forgiveness in my heart because I'll never see my son again. He is gone.
All Kwai has to hold on to are memories and pictures. During the meeting with the parole board, Kwai came face to face with his son's killers, but also had his first conversation with the hip-hop star.
He accepted that he was in the wrong. He sees it and he regrets his actions. He said he has changed. He is no longer that Jub Jub who was doing those things.
He has opened his home to the pair, saying they are welcome anytime. Alden Simpier, SABC News, Johannesburg.
The North Gauteng High Court has dismissed with cost civil rights group AfriForum's urgent court application to interdict the power utility Eskom from cutting electricity supply to non-paying municipalities. The provinces which owe money to the parastatal are the Free State, North West, as well as the Northern Cape provinces.
Blackouts are imminent. The North Gauteng High Court says Eskom is within its rights to take measures and collect revenue owed to it. Municipalities in the Northwest, Free State and Northern Cape owe it over 800 million rand. But there is grace period for payment arrangements.
Eskom undertook not to limit services as envisaged in these proceedings until 9 January 2017. The following is the result. The application is dismissed with costs, including costs of two counsel.
AfriForum says it's back to the drawing board.
I think we'll be just go back to the drawing board, see where our arguments stand. We do sympathise with Eskom. The real culprits are the municipal managers, the municipalities themselves, the councils, and the decisions they have taken financially that the people of South Africa now have to bear the brunt of.
Between March and November last year, municipal debt nationally increased from 6 billion rand to 10.2 billion rand. Eskom says it is not in the business of cutting electricity but to supply it. Eskom says although it is pleased with the court judgment in its favor, it is concerned about the indigent people who will be affected when the electricity is being cut off.
I cannot celebrate that an ordinary South African in a municipality will not have power for 5 hours in 24 hours, precisely because the municipality has not met its obligation with Eskom.
Eskom urged the affected municipalities to make payment arrangements. Offenses Timo, SABC News, Pretoria.
Now, with the national matric pass rate of 72.5%, provincial departments took time off to celebrate and reflect on their individual performances.
Jubilant matric pupils in the Western Cape. 7 months ago, the SABC aired the story of Ikamvaletu Senior Secondary at Langa Township. In trying to beat the odds, the matric pupils literally moved into the school. The class of 2015 did the same thing and managed a 60% pass from 35%. The class of 2016 coming short at 50%.
I did not think I could do it. I moved into the school because I live in a shack and next door there's a tavern. I couldn't focus, so yeah, I got the opportunity to study.
The Department of Education will be visiting underperforming schools. Gauteng also improving its pass rate. With the majority of its schools in townships, the province says its focus and investment in township schools is bearing fruit.
What is more encouraging, Minister and Honourable Premier, that 73% of our schools, regardless whether they're in the township or they're in urban areas, if you go to those schools, you are guaranteed a matric pass. It's a very important development in ensuring that majority of our learners go to schools that will give them an opportunity to pass in life.
The province also boasts the highest number of bachelor passes. Only 3 schools in the province achieved less than 50%. The Northern Cape is celebrating a far more successful year. Various interventions contributing to a near 10% increase. Hard work has paid off for this top performer.
It's been a goal since grade 10 to be part of the top 20 of the province. This became a top 10 goal in grade 11 and then finally a top 5 goal. But now that I'm in the moment and being the top achiever, it feels amazing.
In Limpopo, Vemba district leading the pack. This despite Vuwani being in flames last year. Edson Nesengani Secondary School a beacon of light with 100%. The majority of the schools that were torched produced over 70% pass rate. 2 schools have recorded a 0% pass rate. Mahlako Komane, SABC News, Johannesburg.
The ANC National Executive Committee met to finalise the January 8 statement that will be delivered by the party president Jacob Zuma at Orlando Stadium on Sunday. The statement will give direction to the party's structures on what needs to be done this year. This will be President Jacob Zuma's last January 8 statement that he will be delivering as the party president. The ANC will hold its elective conference at the end of the year.
The NEC, the highest decision-making body between conferences, gathered here to put the final touches. The statement is expected to touch on what the ANC will do to recapture lost ground. It will also look at the economic challenges facing the country. On the international front, it will touch on peace and security on the continent. The senior leaders will visit the 5 Gauteng regions to mobilize support.
The committee has presented the draft today. The NEC is quite busy discussing that draft and focusing on the content, focusing on the formulation, focusing on ensuring that it talks to the people of South Africa. It points direction. By the time we present it, we must all know what to do next. The president has arrived today from home. He put specific apology for being at home for the 3rd and the 4th. And actually, the NSFAS was supposed to be on the 4th. Because of that apology, we have taken it to today. He is now here. He will be moving all over the province. So all the officials are back now, will be everywhere.
Gauteng is the host province, but other provinces will also be attending the event.
We are inviting everybody to come to Orlando Stadium, where we'll be celebrating 105th year of the African National Congress. Obviously, this is not just a celebration. It's a moment for us to reflect, to renew ourselves for the future.
It's a very important historical event in the history of the African National Congress. More so that it will be one of the events which will be addressed by President Zuma as the president of the ANC.
When we celebrate the birthday of the African National Congress, like we're going to be doing on Sunday, the branches of the African National Congress throughout the country must descend to that particular province. It happened in our province. The rest of the provinces came to celebrate. So we are just doing what we are supposed to be doing.
This is a national event. This event is called by Lituli House. So for it to be national, all of us must come, must be represented in that occasion. So as a province, we are bringing 12,000 people as our contribution to the national event.
It has been celebrated in all the provinces as a national event. So once it becomes a national event, it then means that all branches in the country must converge in order to celebrate the event. So the same with branches of Limpopo. They are awaiting the celebration and they will be coming to Gauteng. Even if it was in Western Cape or Eastern Cape, they will still go because it's a national event.
Vilakazi Street will be a hive of activity as some senior ANC members visit Soweto. Sophie Mukwena, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Meanwhile, Morning Live spoke to ANC Secretary General Gwede Mantashe about the January 8th statement.
The ANC statement on the January 8th is not the president's statement. It's the president presents the statement of the National Executive Committee. That's why the National Executive Committee met yesterday to go through the statement, make amendments, look at formulation, deal with all the issues that are in the statement, and also strengthen the message that must go to the people of South Africa.
Yeah, and the January 8 statement goes far beyond just marking the formation of the party. What's the primary purpose of this statement?
The statement is a clarion call of the task to the organization. You'll discover that when you read that statement. There will be an area that deals with the tasks of the organization, which is a clarion call to members and cadres of the movement to do certain things this year, to correct and work on the image of the ANC, strengthen link with the people, talk to society, and reassert the ANC as the leader of society. And that statement is also talking to society broadly on the issues that are at hand today. I would imagine that that statement would not be good enough. It doesn't talk to the challenges facing higher education. It would not be strong enough. If it doesn't talk to issues of infrastructure development, issues of land, you know. The question of land is quite important because it's at the heart of a revolution for freedom.
The United Nations Security Council has welcomed a comprehensive political agreement in the Democratic Republic of the Congo that will see President Joseph Kabila step down by the end of 2017. Kabila's mandate ran out on December the 19th, but authorities effectively extended it until 2018. Negotiators led by the Congo's Catholic Bishops' Conference spent weeks in tense talks before an agreement was reached. Congolese President Joseph Kabila will step down after elections to be held by the end of 2017 under the last-minute deal struck by the political parties on December 31st. Under the deal, Kabila will be unable to change the constitution to allow him to stay in power for a third term. The parties agreed that Kabila will appoint a prime minister from the country's main opposition bloc to oversee the transition, a major sticking point in the final stages of the talks. Neither Kabila nor the country's leading opposition leader, Etienne Tshisekedi, are expected to sign the deal, raising concerns about whether it will be respected. Meanwhile, Good Governance Africa's Richard Chellan says there has been some form of stability from the time that Kabila became president.
There's a form of stability from the time that Joseph Kabila became president from 2006 and his second term in 2011. And it's towards the end of his second term that we've seen a renewed clash of conflict and protests, which led to security forces cracking down on protesters and resulting in a lot of casualties and fatalities. And this is when, that was last year, began in January 2015, when the government wanted to pass an electoral law which, according to the opposition, would see Joseph Kabila remaining in power for longer than his mandated term. And that's led to protests, which eventually led to deadly clashes.
Do you think the current state of affairs could lead to the return of the country's protracted civil war that between 1994 and 2003, which saw over 5 million people losing their lives?
That was a major concern, and still is the major concern for many, for the UN, for the African Union, and for political commentators and scholars, that if this situation is not resolved, and if there's no brokered talks or peace agreements, if a solution is not found, and this could be most likely the result of a recurring civil war in the DRC.
Now, earlier, we saw a deal being struck by political parties in the DRC for President Joseph Kabila to step down at the end of 2017. Could we see a possible peaceful transfer of power?
Well, the deal itself was brokered. It was launched by the Catholic bishops on December the 8th. And it took over a month for it for the opposition members and the government to come to a deal, which was brokered on the 31st of December. According to the deal itself, the political accord, it states that Kabila will not run for a third term, and that the government will not change the constitution by any form, either by referendum or public vote. And that in 3 months' time there should be a national unity government headed by former opposition leader Etienne Tshisekedi. So, referring back to what you say, like, will Kabila step down? It still remains to be seen, as he still needs to sign, his signature still to be laid on the political accord. Sure. So in such time we await and hope that that he does come to the party and sign the deal.
Well, let's now take a look at what's happening on social media. And we start off with hashtag tanker crash. Now, this truck overturned on the N2 that you see there just moments ago. The N2 before Hardy is closed. Traffic is being diverted, and if you're heading in that direction, you would need an alternative route. So find any route to avoid that. Then there's lots of talk about the CAF Awards 2016, where Mamelodi Sundowns won Team of the Year, with their coach Pitso Mosimane taking the title of Coach of the Year. There you see a jubilant picture of Jingle Bells, Jingle Bells. Now, still with some sporting news, cricketers Kyle Abbott and Riley Rousseau have been signed by Hampshire Cricket. Now, many are saddened by their move from the Proteas, and you've heard some explanation in terms of that. Then, South Africans are still talking about the matric results 2016, as lots of congratulatory and support messages have been sent out. This one from Hunsi that says, to the grade 12 class of 2016 who didn't make it, despair not. There is another chance. God is a witness. Well done there, Hunsi. It's not the end of the world. You can still do it. Now, in international news, the story of this man, Mohammed Bakhtar, has gone viral in Iran. He rescued a trapped dog in a minefield and lost his leg in the process. He is recovering, as you can see there. And then finally, a private memorial for Carrie Fisher was held by her at her home in Beverly Hills yesterday. That's a day before the funeral of her mother, Debbie Reynolds, who passed away one day after Fisher died last month. Fisher and the celebrities such as Meryl Streep and Gwyneth Paltrow attended. Carrie Fisher fans have launched a petition calling on Disney to announce Carrie's character, Princess Leia, as an official Disney princess. Well, that's what's happening on social media and around the globe. But let's now come back home, where the ANC leadership is currently doing its door-to-door campaign in Dobsonville ahead of the January 8th statement on Sunday. We now cross to our reporter, Eldrin St. Pierre, who's there with the leadership. A very good morning to you, Eldrin, and welcome. Can you give us an update on that door-to-door campaign that's currently happening in Soweto?
Well, good morning, Elvis. And the ANC leadership has been crisscrossing the Gauteng province. They've been in Midrand as well, and of course here in Soweto, where the official January 8th statement celebrations will be taking place here at Orlando Stadium. Right now, we're standing outside Orlando Stadium, where a press briefing will be held by Gwede Mantashe, the Secretary General of the ANC. And earlier on, he was in an area here in Soweto, close to Soweto, called Kagiso, encouraging residents of that area to come and join in on the celebrations on Sunday. He has indicated that about 800 buses are expected to make their way here to the Orlando Stadium on Sunday. But of course, as you know, that when you do these door-to-door campaigns, there are also residents who will raise some serious concerns with regards to what they feel is poor leadership within the ANC, and also an ANC which they believe that has neglected them. There's one resident, for instance, who spoke to us about why should she be coming to the ANC's January 8th statement for the 105th celebration here at Orlando Stadium, when it seems as though that the ANC has neglected her. She talked about the house, a shack that she lived in, saying that she was promised that she will be given a house, and she's still waiting over the years. They're also they're also using a pit toilets or a bucket system, which they've also been promised that those bucket systems will be eradicated. And those are some of the issues that they raised with the Secretary General of the ANC, Gwede Mantashe. And Gwede Mantashe indicating and actually pleading with them, asking for them to be patient. As he said earlier on, that patience is a virtue. On the other hand, you have issues within the ANC. We spoke to some ANC people, members of the ANC, saying that for them, quite importantly, is the unity of the party and leadership. One resident who's also an active ANC member in Kagiso spoke about how they lost the city of Joburg during the elections, and they hope that when President Jacob Zuma delivers the January 8th statement, that he will speak about the post-mortem of those elections, what happened, what went wrong, and how the ANC can regain the lost ground.
Now, Eldrin, it seems like it's all set and ready to go for the ANC. How many people do they actually expect to fill that stadium?
The ANC has actually been quite clever with this one. They haven't attached the number in terms of the number of people that they are anticipating. And earlier on, was speaking to some of my colleagues who said that when they spoke to Gwede Mantashe, he said that, listen, if the stadium is full, the stadium is full. If the stadium is not full, it's not full. But they are expecting 800 buses that will be sent out across the country, making their way here to the January 8th statement. But of course, we know that filling up the stadium is quite has been something that people have been using rather as an litmus test. If you look back at what happened during the election campaigning last year, where there was a complete focus or quite a focus on the stadium capacity and how many people came to the stadium. And this stadium in particular is a stadium, remember, where the EFF last year launched their manifesto, and this stadium was packed to capacity. So there will be that comparison of whether the ANC will be able to fill the stadium even more than what the EFF has been able to do, and many will be looking closely to whether indeed it will be able to do that. But some residents, some will not be coming. They've made that clear, but there are those who said that all roads lead to the Orlando Stadium.
Aldrin, thank you so much for your time and joining us there from Soweto on the door-to-door campaign that the ANC is conducting. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, shortly, we'll be probably crossing to that press briefing that will be happening at the Orlando Stadium. But we'll first take a break, and we'll be right back after that.
What are the qualities of a good policeman?
In the police, we look at the overall wellness of police, not just physical well-being, but also mental well-being, also looking at economical well-being, and also looking at the physical well-being is not just about exercise and dieting, but it's also about the health and safety aspects of our members.
Nursing is a caring profession.
It's important for us to make our communities aware of those criteria, that there's academic criteria and there's some personal attributes that are all considered before a nurse is allowed to enter into a nursing qualification.
If not resolved, challenges in work environments can lead to depression.
We talk about work-life balance, and it's very important that also, if you are going through or you are in a very stressful work, when you are not at work, what is it that you are doing to take care of self?
Join Health Talk every Saturday for all your health news.
Give me that paperwork.
Where is your
Give me that paperwork.
Where is your paperwork?
Like I'm saying, I don't know what's going on. Suddenly I'm locked up.
This is not fair. Center Basizan. Not fair.
Who puts a rent 200? I bet you put like 200. Urungwana, we won. 150, 150 plus. Koloi, Leon. Let me in another one. 150.
I'm just the one to lock you out.
Yes, you just want to lock me out. You are starting gangsterism.
No. No.
Gauteng police say they are on high alert and ready to ensure the safety and security of the participants attending the ANC's 105th anniversary celebrations at the Orlando Stadium in Soweto this Sunday. Now, about 52,000 people are expected to attend. Gauteng police spokesperson Sally de Beer says that certain items will not be allowed to be taken into the stadium on Sunday. Secretary General Gwede Mantashe is briefing the media at the Orlando Stadium. Let's go there live.
Because one of the things that is important about this is that it holds regular conferences. It 5 years it holds regular conferences. It did that before it was banned. It had only 3 consultative conferences during the 30 years in exile, and since it came back, it had regular conferences. Therefore, the conference should not be a point of conversion. It should be a point of engagement. It should be a point of people being able to express different views, but engage each other, persuade each other, respond to issues. So we've appealed to our branches that, listen, don't start with names, because if you start throwing names, I know that Mbalula, that the position of a Secretary General is vacant. You are going for it, but we said to branches, don't throw the name of Mbalula now. What you should do, discuss principles. Discuss principles. You know, Truth of the Needle is raising few important questions. One of them is that, please be able to deal with ambitions of individuals, because it is human for individuals to be ambitious. Number two, deal with the question of lobbying. I've changed the term lobbying. I call them runners. Half the time they have bags of money and they run around and lobby people with money. And I said, the Truth of the Needle warns us against that. The question of promoting friends and associates. I don't want to nominate Malusi because of his capability. I nominate him because he's my friend, you see. And I hope if he's elected, I may benefit. The Truth of the Needle warns us against that. The question of personal interests, that I want to do this because this is what I think I will benefit out of being elected. So this year, we're going to go everywhere, talk to the branches of the ANC to begin to internalize the principle of selecting leadership. If a person is nominated, branches must have a discussion, why this person? What is the track record of this person? Where does he or she come from? What is the record of success where he or she has been given responsibilities? That is the year that we're in. And we're quite excited about it, you know. When it was the 1st January 2017, I phoned a number of comments saying, comrade, we're in 2017. You have been threatening about South Tibanango 2017. Now, this year, what is this big deal? We're excited. We're in a very important year for the ANC. We're hoping that the economy will bottom up and begin to grow. And if it is growing, we're hoping that it will begin to create jobs. Thank you very much. Oh, it's Tulaslav.
Thanks very much. You would have noticed that the Secretary did not only just deal with the event on Sunday. It's going to be a very eventful year for the ANC. We will meet quite regular between now and December. Shall we take any questions from the media? And I will ask members of the NEC on the request of the SG to help in terms of questions and answers.
And they are not going to be given notice.
Yes. Oli?
Can I just ask for clarity on the technicalities in as far as broadcasting on the day of the event? Will broadcasters be allowed to talk to supporters or members of the ANC that are coming into the stadium? How will that work in terms of the feed, etc.? Could we just get clarity on what is allowed, what is not allowed?
Next question.
Hi, I'm Nation from Power FM. I just wanted to know, and Mr. Natasha touched on it a little bit, but since the inception of the ANC, it seems as though there's a pervasive cancer that's growing with regards to corruption and people applying for positions assuming that they're for personal benefits. So how do we change that narrative going forward for 105th anniversary, so that people are aware that they should be applying because they're faith within the ANC as opposed to applying for personal benefits?
Hashara?
Okay, Hajra Marjorie Power FM. Given that this is the ANC's 105th year and the party had a very difficult year last year, and the significance of the January 8th speech, how important is the speech, given that in recent years we've seen as the speech is delivered, for one reason or another, be it heat or another reason, people tend to leave the stadium. So how important is this speech compared to the 1985 speech, for example?
Sophie? I saw your hand up. Okay. SG, those are the last questions we have. Seems to be.
Given that we're not entering into, or you're not entering into detailed discussions about the leadership, can we expect any major policy announcements on this speech about the year ahead?
Okay, SG, if you want to share those questions, you can indicate.
No, I'm not sharing any. Otherwise, you see, right, NSC member to this question, they spoiled the whole. Ningenenzakalisa nithi ayikho le nto lokumane asithatha into zomqala wakhe technicalities will be outlined to the media in a separate briefing session. But now, Koli, you are asking for permission to get sources. Now, it's a strange question. Whether the ANC will allow you to whisper with members as they come in and pick up information. I've never had this request for permission to look for sources. Half the time, you phone us and say, in terms of the sources, this is what is what you say. Now you want us to give you permission, I don't know, what is it? But on the technicalities, Ziz is going to brief you in details where you register, where do you sit, where do you stand, what do you do. How do we change the narrative on corruption? I think if we were having a very intellectual debate on this matter, would help the country. Because we're not intellectual in dealing with corruption, we deal with it emotionally. We are actually running a risk of sinking the country. And somebody will say, ANC is corrupt. Now, when you say that, you are not saying individuals in the ANC are corrupt. You are painting the organization with the same brush, and many of good comrades in the ANC who are doing good work, sterling work, honest work, get sunk in that same message. And I think it is becoming more urgent and important now to deal with individuals who are accused of corruption. And that's where the fighting tigers and flies come in. Because if we have it as a theme that there's corruption here, they smell corruption here, we're unlikely to do anything because we're generalizing. The only way we can change this theme and the narrative is when we deal with corruption case by case as it happens. And when I was in the Val, Comrade Bucks, I said to them, you have evidence that Umandasha have stolen something. Bring the evidence. Let's hand over that information to institutions to actually deal with that issue. And I was telling somebody in the Amatole region who was saying, yeah, you are doing nothing about corruption. It's a member of the ANC. And I said to them, you are the last region to say so. Your mayor is in court. A mayor next door has been put into house arrest. I don't know how important is house arrest in dealing with corruption. And I say, we don't see even events where individuals of the ANC have been arrested and actually convicted. And when we do that, we are increasing and emphasizing a narrative that says nothing is being done. But we know that a lot is being done, but we must continue working harder to ensure that individuals who are alleged of being corrupt must be arrested and be prosecuted. That's the only way we deal with corruption. If we can't reach that stage, we'll never defeat it. And the other narrative is that this ANC is corrupt. The reality of the matter is that This ANC is running a government, it is in charge of resources. That is where temptation is. And we must deal with it with that understanding that you can't compare this phase of liberation with this phase, because phase of liberation, there was nothing to steal, there was nothing to fight about, because joining the ANC was risky itself. Now we're in this phase, we must instill the highest standard of behavior as leaders of society. And if we insist on that, we emphasize that, we talk about it every day, and we're many, it's going to improve, we're going to change the narrative. And if the media help us in actually emphasizing the correct narrative, we'll change the perception. Difficult 2016, how important is the speech? Every speech, January 8th statement is very, very important because it gives us a line of march. Give us a line of march. So half the time, it doesn't tell us what we want to hear. It gives us a line of march. And this January 8th statement is as important as the ones before. All the time, January 8th statement, you know, you are an activist in the country, you get a January 8th statement that says the enemy is on the run. That time you are on the run. But it gives you energy to come out and think, yeah, the enemy is running, let me chase it. January 8th statement is important. This one is important. It's important because we've come through a difficult period. We are no longer in the mourning phase. We are jubilant. We think that we're coming out of trouble. And number two, we are building a strong ANC. And we'll invest time and energy in building a strong ANC. That is the most important one. Policy announcements. There's a policy conference in June of the ANC. There's a policy conference in June. And that's where policies are formulated. And out of the policy conference, you make recommendations to the national conference. The ANC revisit policies once every 5 years. We don't change policies on our hoof. We don't take populist decisions because electoral results show the decline, therefore we must be populist. We can only change policies of the ANC after the national conference in December. So don't expect new policy pronouncement. You may find pronouncement on action to be taken in implementing existing policies of the ANC. Okay. Thank you very much.
The part of our work is to facilitate the free flow of information, particularly by the media. So whatever discussions you may have, we have had, for example, a number of technical meetings with broadcasters to facilitate that free flow of information. And there isn't be any problem because in the past we did so during Siangoba, we did so because we wanted to make sure, sometimes this is an international practice, where you have big events and there are various activities on the pitch. And it's important to coordinate the production in terms of that transmission of information. We have done so before. Perhaps this question from ENCA, we may attend to it and understand what is the problem, because it's the second time that question is asked. But nowhere in our interaction with all broadcasters was that issue raised as a problem. Interviews are allowed. You'll do so as you always do. People come in, you interview them, you can't be restricted. You don't need the permission of the ANC. We even created a possibility, small stadium as it is there on top, where we created each broadcaster to have a studio, a makeshift studio, so that we can be able to do interviews. These NEC members, you will interview them on Sunday from 6 a.m. up until the end of the day. So whatever we do, we facilitate free flow of information to assist the media. Now that was the last question. Comrade Wire, please come and help. The question was asked by the gentleman many times in the briefing that he has been attending. He's worried about the parking. Are they going to be provided food? What time, when they must go? Members of the NEC? This is now security.
Yeah, it listens over Lago TV for the first time. No, thanks, Chair. Good morning, everybody. Now, in terms of security arrangements for media, it's simple. We are going to use Klipspruit Valley, this road. And then at the robots there is Maralo. You turn right, go up, and then you'll find Zafina Mutuping Street. You turn left there. That's where we are going to have our remote search park. So you'll take your cars there, and then they'll be screened. From there, they'll be escorted straight to the stadium. Your parking is this side. Inside the stadium, we've got the parking bays that are allocated for you. And then you'll be able to access the field and the other places where you want to work through this glass door. So that is simple. However, we are requesting you, because you'll be having production very early in the morning, some of you. So we request you that you must be early at the remote search park, at least latest 4:30 in the morning. Yeah. Yes. Those are doing production. Yeah, those are doing production, maybe morning live and all that. It's better for you to be early, so that you don't mix up with the buses. And because we're going to have staff there, we're going to have service providers, we're going to have merchandisers. So we don't want you to be stuck there. However, we'll make an arrangement, especially for media, so that at least you are treated separately from the rest of the people. But we encourage you to come as early as possible. So that is the brief. It's easy and simple. The only thing that you have to do, make sure that you have your accreditation. Parking stickers, we're going to give them to UPEM. For me, I'll give them to UPEM. So we'll talk to UPEM. She'll distribute those parking stickers for you. And then if you don't have parking sticker, if you don't have your accreditation, you won't be able to access the stadium. Despite that, you have your appointment card or whatever you call it. We need accreditation and parking to access the stadium. And then in terms of food, I don't know about food. Thanks, Chair. But if we get out here, we can stand outside there. I'll show you the remote search park and how to access the stadium. Thanks very much, Chair. Questions? Yes. Clarity? Yes.
Those that are happy to park outside and walk in at 7 or 8, not 4 a.m. Is there designated areas for media outside the stadium to park, or do we just park wherever?
No, if you want to park wherever, then it means we must find a way where we can park. But we have made arrangement for you to park inside the stadium. So if you park outside, then it's no longer our problem. We have made arrangement to park you inside the stadium. Yeah.
Sorry, just to clarify, following on Hydro's question, if the Hoplos Port...
Well, there you have it. That's the January 8th statement. Preparations underway at the Orlando Stadium. Right now, that's how we come to the end of our program today. From myself, Elvis Presley, and Kendall Makamata, we'll see you bright and early, same time, same place tomorrow. So ciao for now. Arrivederci. But before we go, let's take a look at your weather forecast.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, let's take a look at that weather. We're going to start off as usual with southern Africa. Well, we're seeing persistent low pressure systems here drawing in a lot of moisture, particularly from the northern regions of southern Africa and the southern regions of central Africa. That's being drawn down in towards Botswana for today, and of course down into South Africa's central interior and in towards its eastern coastline as well. We're expecting widespread showers for parts of Botswana, parts of South Africa, and of course through Angola, Zambia, as well as possibly even into Malawi for today. So that's what the low pressures are doing. By tomorrow, though, we begin to see a higher pressure system coming in and starting to act on that western region of the subcontinent here. And as a result, seeing a lot more clear conditions throughout that western coastline. We're also going to see that rainfall being pushed in South Africa a little bit further towards the east. Isolated showers still forecast along the southern coastline of the Western Cape, though. Let's take a look in a little bit more detail what's going on in your area for today. Now, Cape Town peaks at 26 degrees Celsius. Celsius. It's going to be a warm one in Pretoria at 32 degrees, but we're going to see rainfall throughout most of the country for today. Widespread showers over Bloemfontein, so do expect a lot of rainfall there. Bloemfontein peaks at 22 degrees Celsius and temperatures rising steadily into the northern regions around Gaborone there, 32 degrees, Seroe at 29. Rainfall continuing in Maputo as well as Bulawayo there. And of course, Antananarivo there continuing with rainfall as well with a 26-degree maximum. Bulawayo's at 29 degrees and Harare 26. But temperatures rising again as we move further north towards Dar es Salaam there, 32 degrees Celsius. Showers and thunder showers now as you can see around Luanda, around Kinshasa, Brazzaville. Definitely going to see some rainfall there, but a dry one moving towards Juba, Addis Ababa and the surrounding areas. You can see the exact reason for that. Well, we're expecting higher pressure systems to dominate that interior region here. Low pressure systems are present over that far northern coastline there, and it's originating over Europe and the surrounding areas. Of course, what we are seeing, though, is that that's going to bring in some moisture, but of course a very small amount. This being winter, we're going to see that rainfall coming through Tunisia, through Libya, and beginning to move towards Egypt as well. We are going to see warm days, though, continuing for that interior. They're 38 degrees in Al Fajr, much colder as we move.
There's nobody who's going to be stopped.
And Benghazi
like the
only 14 degrees Celsius, so you can see just what that low pressure system does. Cairo peaks at 18 and Tripoli at 13 degrees. Winter temperatures definitely taking hold of the area. Now, those winter temperatures continuing into Nis there, 9 degrees Celsius. We saw that rainfall forecast for the area as well, but it gets warmer and warmer as we move further and further south. Marrakesh, 22 degrees. Temperatures in Dakar, 26. Temperatures in Abidjan and Lagos at 31 and 33 degrees, respectively. This is where we leave your weather for now, but don't hesitate to contact us with at sabc.co.za. That's where we leave it for now. Have yourself a great day.
You are coming to this big problem. The chairman of SANEF must intervene. You know, I mean, is to take things very far. Nobody's going to be restricted here. We've got an arrangement with your technical people. If you think it will prohibit you to a certain extent, our people and your people at the technical level, including yourselves, your good selves, we're attending to that. And we will do it. It is in our interest for our rally to be covered by you. You also, you know that the big story is January 8th. There's nowhere you can go. It's the ANC on Sunday. There's nowhere you can go. There's no Orlando Pirates. There's no Kaizer Chiefs. It's AFCON and ANC. So you will be here, and then we'll help you. Your parking, you come early, you come late, we'll help you to be in the stadium to get to the designated place where the people will be. Nobody will be muzzled with regard to the preparations. And to say that there is a big issue about the rally, honestly, it's an over-exaggeration. During the week, I'm raising this issue, Comrade Zizi, because during the week, SG, that issue was raised and we explained. And we thought it is settled. If you are unhappy about it, use the channels of our media people, will resolve it. Nobody is going to be restricted here. There is no red zone, you see. And we package our own story and we give you the feed. And if you're not happy with that, we will find creative means to enable you to be in a position to cover your story to the best of your ability. Thank you.
Why do you isolate from that? Where is spam? She was mentioned. I just want to know the to know. Yes.
No, I just wanted to speak on this issue of cameras, because you're saying that broadcasters will only be allowed one camera inside the stadium, which means that you're limiting what they're able to do outside of the speech of the president. I think we all know that for broadcasters to be able to do their work, they will need more than one camera. I think that is the first issue. And also, once there is a controlled feed, then the ANC decides on where it focuses on. I mean, we saw in Parliament when the EFF was being beaten up, for example, that camera stayed focused on the Speaker of Parliament. And obviously, as media organizations, you would want to focus on other things that happen as the president is speaking. I think those are the concerns of the broadcasters, and that's why there's a feeling that there's an attempt to muzzle people. It's fine if you're saying that the president's speech will be broadcast live and will get a feed, but broadcasters need to be able to provide their own cameras so that Coley can be on the one side of the stadium. If Tulas wants to be on the other side, he can be on the other side. Why are you limited to one camera?
There's no question of limitation. The question of our OB becoming the feed is our own choice. And we've discussed that with the broadcasters. And I'm not sure whether you speak from a point of authority or as the third party.
SANEF.
Yes, SANEF, that's the problem. At an operational level, we've got a consensus. And then should there be any other issue, even after this meeting, we will sit and resolve on all those particular issues. So there's no problem about that.
Let's have a side meeting with the broadcasters.
We will, and as always, we will have a side meeting, and that has been ongoing since the preparation of this rally. So there's no problem about that. And there is no beef between us and the broadcasters, including what we are doing tomorrow is what we did at our Siangoma rally, and there was no problem about it. So it's not something that is new. It is new to others, but it is the ANC. It starts anything new and others follow. But it is new to you. But we did it even at our Siangoma rally.
Okay, Max. I think we must take this off the media briefing. It's an issue for broadcasters if they want to raise anything. But if I listen to you, Mahlats, you say you want the NCA to find side stories to the main story. That's basically what you are pleading for.
She said, no, we should speak to people.
Yes, we have answered that. I need the permission for that. You can do that. But the point I'm making is that let's not plead for side stories to the main story of the event of the ANC. But if there are issues as technical that broadcasters want to clarify them with this. It's not an issue for media briefing, really.
Comrade Waya, we are now in your hands. Thanks very much, members of the media. You shall follow Waya, who was here in the podium. Thanks very much. We'll see you on tomorrow. Remember, we're meeting at Vilagazi. We're meeting in Vilagazi now. Tomorrow we're meeting at 7 o'clock, Sentin Convention in Sunday. Media Lounge is on the 3rd floor. Thank you.
They